Ooh-wee. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen, locusts and gentle mechs? Looks like we got... Yeah, Machine God was first. Machine God was pretty definitely first. Hard to beat him with that one in quite early. Colonel Matthew Steiner, 11... Oh my god, dude. I just, like... I know it it keeps happening. I have a surprising number of subscriptions right now that are sitting at 11 or even 12 months, and it never. What's the word I'm looking for? It never. Maybe that's the wrong way to approach that sentence. It always surprises me. It always hits me with a little moment of like 11 fucking months. And that same stupid thought that I articulate every time, which is, how have I been doing this for a year? How is that even a thing? It doesn't seem like a thing. And yet you, Colonel Matthew Steiner, are one of many pieces of proof that I have, in fact, been streaming for a year. Colonel Matthew Steiner, thank you so much for those 11 months of subscription. I appreciate your support so much. How are you, Colonel Matthew Steiner? I was browsing your Instagram earlier today. You got some interesting stuff on there recently. Watched to try and get good myself. Dude, I think that the perception of painters to other painters is a funny sort of thing. Because there's like this funny kind of bounce back and forth. I'll be like, oh, Steiner Miniatures, you're such a good painter, I think you're a better painter than me. And he'll be like, no dude, I think you're a better painter than me. Colonel Matthew Steiner's like, I'm watching you to get good, and I'm like, dude, you paint Battlemax fucking better than I do. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I think what that really says is that none of us are even remotely capable of judging our own work objectively in any way, shape, or form. Datron Voltari, thank you so much for that Prime sub. 9 whole months, that's right. Data Nerd, I have a new mug, and this one is done in such a way. I noticed that you swapped the logo to the other side. This new glaze that Data Nerd has been doing on the mugs is so nice. We had a couple of the bits of lettering on the first run come off, but this new glaze is so nice, so smooth, and so deliciously durable. Thank you so much for this, Data Nerd. We are gonna have some more of these mugs going out with our upcoming Streamiversary celebration. I need to hit you with particulars on that, by the way, Data Nerd. Datron Voltari, thank you so much for that. I think I already thanked you, but I'm going to thank you twice. I'm going to thank you 9 times. 9 times for 9 months of subs. The other 7 will come, later on. So it's not copper. It's ceramic. It just has like a terracotta coloration to it. I am worth it. Absolutely. Yeah, Hootie, it's been a minute, man. How worth that? And by a minute, I mean literally a minute. We were just in Discord chat together. That's why I was late today. We were doing some groundwork for our upcoming role-playing session. Ooh, excuse me. Cosmic Disorder could hear me talk about that glaze for hours. A nice thick layer of shiny protective glaze. Cosmic Disorder, how are you today? Man, Kursala, would you do me a favor? My nose is itching. Oh god. Do me a favor, Kursala, would you hit a shout out for Cosmic Disorder and also for Colonel Matthew Steiner, 2 people who you should be following, if you're not yet. Cosmic Disorder, and I don't think, I'm gonna be very honest. I'm gonna be very honest, Cosmic Disorder, in my description of you, and I don't think you'll mind. Cosmic Disorder is one of the strangest men I've ever known. And I've known him for some time. We went to army together. Very strange man. One of the most entertaining individuals I have ever known. I've been doing a lot of really cool music streaming lately. He is a huge, just unapologetic weeb. Like, oh my god, you guys. Sometimes I think, I have weeby tendencies, and then I go, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I ain't got shit. I ain't got shit on Cosmic Disorder. No, go give this man a follow. check out his stream. He is a lot of fun. I think that as he continues to develop his streaming style, he's someone to keep an eye on. Did I change my angles up again? I don't think so, White Wolf. This should be the same. Maybe did I bump my camera a little bit? That's possible. Whoa. I'm gonna wipe my nose. Whoa, okay, this is weird. I just realized that I've got both pretzel... Hang on. There's two bits of music playing over top of one another. And that should end now. Yes, that is over now. Whoopsie daisy, that was, I had Sirenscape going. I had it being piped through my OBS. Yeah, that was strange. It took me a minute to realize what was going on, but that is over now. We are back to just a little bit of pretzel. I'm gonna jam this coffee down. We're gonna get working on Eomer. We're gonna have a little bit of a short stream tonight, and I do apologize for that, but we needed to do some groundwork on the upcoming role-playing game. Just need to get into anime models. My good dude is obsessed with Gundam, so technically I've done a number of models, in fact sculpted a number of models for Battletech Cosmic Disorder that are specifically from, in fact, the precise original designs of 1980 anime mechs from Fang of the Sun Dugram. Very, very specific. Yes, Kursala, I did. I'm loving this new mug. Oh, and that's right. I also got, this is pretty cool. Check it out. I'm a ninja. It's pretty cool though, right? Look at that. Got myself a little COVID mask that, with any luck over the course of the year, will turn into just an airbrushing mask. Thank you so much for that, Kursala and Data Nerd. Really, really nice. Oh, excuse me. Hootie hoo! How you doing today, man? I know we were just talking, but still, how you doing? We managed to get everybody who is participating in the role-playing game onto a voice chat, do our tech test, make sure that all of the various pieces of technology are working. Hamburg Tack, it is good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a good night. We will be ready to... Okay, so yeah, there were some other things. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to plaster those all over social media for you before I'd had a chance to use them, Kursala, but there were some other things in that box. Now, I don't believe that you had mentioned this to me before, but I think it's very interesting. Had a little note mentioning that because I had complained about mixing some of my own blue-grays, Kursala went ahead and mixed me up a couple bottles of paint. I'll show them again. On my bigger camera, we have Rainy River Designs Gun Barrel Black and Rainy River Designs Gunmetal Glaze. And I'm going to try these out and see how they go. I can tell you, if you seriously get into like formulating paint, I am all over that. I am all over that, Kursala. We're gonna give them a try and see how they do us. Thank you so much for sending those along. I like some feedback before. Yeah, I'll see what I can get you. I'll play with them a little bit. Only got one goal tonight. Need to get me in a silly mood. I got you. Start drinking right now. You'll be there very soon. Filming February's challenge skit tomorrow, and if I get in the right mood, I'll drop some teaser shots of what the skit is gonna be about. Ooh. Is it also gonna be Lord of the Rings themed? Because in that case, I respond with "Hey dilly ho dilly, hey dilly ho. Hey dilly ho dilly, Tom Bombadillo." That's what I got for you. Yeah, Cosmic Disorder knows what I'm on about. Hey, baby dino waifu. How are things? Good to see ya. The forehead gold. Do I need the... Am I shiny? Am I like extra oily or something? The five head. The 5 head glows, baby dino. It's not Lord of the Rings, but I'm gonna sneak an Easter egg into the skit. Alright. Can we get a shout out, by the way? Real quick, for Baby Dino Waifu, a member of the Burger Fam, the new and exciting crew of variety streamers working with MCB on his new podcast content, and streaming with him a lot lately. They've been playing Dead by Daylight. They've been playing a game where you shoot people and you run around and you got classes and abilities and you're like, bang, 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 and they're like, no, bang, bang, and you're like, ah. I think that's how the game goes. I don't really follow a lot of the latest releases. Tom Bombadil only wears the hat and the hat stays on. In canon, he doesn't wear pants. In canon, he bangs the daughter of the river. I'm pretty sure. Rogue Company, that's the one. Yeah, Rogue Company. With the guns, and you're like, pow, 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 pow. And they're like, pew, pew, pew. And you're like, pow, pow. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think Tom is even a man. In the sense of being like a human. Tom Bombadil is, yeah, like, I got the impression in my readings that Tom Bombadil is arguably the most powerful individual character in the Lord of the Rings universe in Middle-earth. That was the impression that I got when I was reading it. Like, it's not really specifically said to be, but it's like he worries a lot less than the rest of the powerful characters about basically everything, and he certainly seems to be constant throughout the entire history of Middle-earth. Definitely a Maiar, yeah, I'd buy that. He seems like he's the one fucking Maiar who really, really knew how to live life. I think that Tom Bombadil is Tolkien's self-insert. You know, authors tend to have a self-insert character where they're like, I just want to write a character who's my ideal self, who I want to be in this universe. If I could be anybody, I'd be this guy. I feel like it was Tom Bombadil. He wrote himself in. He was like, and he sings songs, and he wears a stupid hat, and he dances in the forest, and he's friends with the trees, and everybody leaves him alone because they're scared of him, and he bangs the daughter of the river, and she's hot and young and blonde. Like, yeah, that... Okay, Tolkien. Totally. If I ever get a fat ginger cat, his name will be Tom Bombadil. Ooh, that does seem appropriate, doesn't it, Sheza? How you doing today, Gear Falcon? We are. Yes, Gear Falcon. We were just sort of finalizing some of those details. I'm almost done with my coffee, then I'm going to paint on some Eomer here. I feel like that should be the description for every game. Coming this fall, a gaming experience quite a lot like many that you've had before. Pow, 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 pew, pew, pow, pow. You see what I mean, Kursal? Yeah, because when I'm reading the book, I'm like, I feel like of all the characters here that I want to be, if I'm being honest with myself, part of me is like, I want to be Faramir, because he's like super pure of heart, and he steps out of the shadow of his father that ruined his brother. Or I'm like, I want to be, mostly I want to be Faramir, if I'm being honest. But, if I'm being completely honest with who I know myself to be, I'm like, I would be Tom Bombadil, because he doesn't really seem to give a shit about anything. I feel like being Treebeard would be okay, but his life's a little depressing, All the elves have kind of a depressing life. They, the ones that stayed behind in Middle-earth, it's like they do it just so that they could watch things die. I don't know, that doesn't really sound all that great to me. Would be a bartender at the Green Dragon. Dude, yes, that suits you perfectly. And I would be a drunken, red-faced, farting human who hangs out at the Green Dragon quite a lot. Hell yeah. Wait. I'm thinking of the Prancing Pony. The Green Dragon is in Hobbiton. They probably wouldn't let me. in. Carbonic acid with the random Thunderhead-ism. The random Thunderhead ism. You know what? I got one for you in that case. Here's your Thunderhead-ism. You ready?
Ass crackling thunderspunk. Yeah!
Wait, did that play? That didn't play, did it? Did it? Did the ass crackling thunderspunk go off? Or do I have to fix it? It didn't show on my mixer. Oh, it did? Okay. It didn't show on my mixer, so I was like, oh no! Oh no! The sound is broken, the stream is over.
Not to worry, we are still flying half a ship.
That'd probably be Bilbo. Let me go on one adventure, be rich, then leave me the fuck alone, right? Then celebrate your 11th birthday by trolling everybody that you know. That'd be fucking hilarious. He was an asshole. Ooh, SP Firestarter with these 6 months of subs. Behold, my months. I hope you meant that to be read in the spirit of, what was his name, Scourge? Fucking, Carl Urban, because that's how I read it. It is good. It's a nice dark roast with some, really just Bailey's Irish cream. Just, yeah, having the old Irish coffee. I would Sheza, but this coffee is mine, and I want it all, so, you know, what are you gonna do? So attractive. So attractive, pro streamer, stand back. Let's paint some shit. Try to get a little bit of work done before I have to call it for the night. Probably gonna be working on Eomer on Wednesday for the streamiversary. I've got a new piece of terrain here for Trinity City. If you guys want to see it, we're gonna have a new building pack coming out here pretty soon that I got started working on. That is specifically going to be lower density buildings and housing for Trinity City. There isn't really anything in the Trinity City set that is shorter than level 3 in terms of Battletech. It all winds up being fairly tall buildings, so you can only really build a downtown. And we realize that we need some things to kind of mix in there, so I've been working with some smaller structures. Here we have kind of like a high density, or I guess, you know, lower density than the major housing structures. You know, like a little apartment building with a couple of taller structures attached to it. White Wolf. Oh, Sheza Gaming with the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, Sheza. I like this one. I really like this one because it's level 1 and 2. It has the full support that we usually have, and what you can do with this one is you can combine it into a series of fun shapes. Like you can put them together like this, and then put a road on either side, and you can just line these up, boop, 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 and make like this nice long block of housing. And then the other one that I have put together here, which one of these is actually printing right now with some of the final changes I needed to make. So this one is more of an auditorium slash church is kind of what I was going for with this. A couple of loading docks in the back, a man door on the side, a number of doors in the front, sort of a marquee on the front here, and then lots of daylight that can get in through these top windows, and a more interesting shape on top than a lot of the ones we have so far, but with the usual hex markings and full support. This one actually didn't fully support the standard Battletech hex bases, so that one I'm printing there has a couple of additional pieces on the side. This is why I do test prints. This is Our Lady of the Holy PPC. It's fucking stupid. You should be ashamed of yourself. God. How you doing, Steiner Miniatures? Good to see you. Could we get a shout out from... Well, we already did it. It already happened. God, I'm way behind. I'm way behind. So yeah, these are the 2 that I have completely finished for the new set. We're going to have at least 6 structures coming out to expand your Trinity City and to give you some level... I'm not going over level 3 with this one. It's level 1 to 3, very few level 3 structures, mostly level 1 and 2. So you'll be able to have some kind of city outskirts and lower density areas of said city. I'm going to work on Eomer a little bit today. So we worked last time... Hold on, what did I miss? I'm missing stuff. I'm missing stuff.
There's something about Canopian catgirls that give me that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Ooh.
Maybe it's just my allergies.
It's definitely. Found a Bailey's Irish Cream Red Velvet, and it was delicious. Holy crap, that sounds ooh, that sounds like really good. Actually, I'm going to have to investigate that. Ooh-wee. Will still be readily available as built by Alex. I mean, printed. White Wolf, you mean the new buildings? Absolutely, yeah. Anything that we produce at this point is available in physicals from Alex, and, I mean, everything through Alex. He just does all my distribution because I am a profoundly lazy person. When it comes down to it. What's the MDF Trinity City details you mentioned? So that is getting finalized as we speak, and Talon Games is going to be producing... They've paid me for the rights to produce a line of MDF terrain, urban MDF terrain, in the 10 to 12 millimeter scale. I think 12 is technically? what Cav Strike Ops is, and that is what it's being made for, is for use with Cav Strike Ops or any other sci-fi 10 to 12 millimeter scale game. But they're going to be doing some MDF kits based on the buildings from Trinity City. It will be sporting the name Trinity City, boop, right there on the branding, which I'm pretty excited about. We'll have more details as that actually gets produced. Riot Sister, Herf Derf is 1 year. We gone done did a year. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
Hello there.
How have we been going a year? Cats, you've been here like the entire time. 12 months of subs, you're out of your mind. Ugh. Let's take a look here real quick at what we were working on last time, because I made a little bit of progress.
If you don't respect
between
the cat,
streams.
you're gonna get the bat.
It's true, you go and get it, Nanotanks. Thank you so much for that Prime sub, 9 whole months. Something stream, baby. So I did a little bit more work on Spider-Man. Ooh, Wolf Woman. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the holy shit. What, Studio J7, what are you doing, man? What are you doing to me? What is this? Holy crap. Studio, you absolute madman. Thank you so much for that raid. Good timing. We're just getting started here. We're just getting ramped up. We're just getting the juices flowing, getting the engine pumping. I hope you have had a fantastic stream. Studio J7. I would say that we should give Studio J7 a shout out, but I think that's sort of self-evident at this point that you should go give Studio J7 a bit of a follow. The absolute unit that he is, a fantastic mini painter from across the pond, and one of my big inspirations for getting started streaming, painting at all. Gave me some of the best advice I have yet received for streaming on Twitch right when I was getting started. Studio J7, thank you so much for that raid. How was your stream? What were you working on? I didn't have a chance to stop over. I've been doing tabletop role-playing game stuff for a little... Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff going on. We got Killa Girl with the follow. We got Papa Phoenix with the follow, and Battle Pig as well. All of you, thank you so much for the follows. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the Storm Chasers. We're the gamers popping out that gift sub over to Lonely Sandbar, and then Riot Sister just going crazy. Just going crazy. How many gift subs is that? You just dropped 5 gift subs? What are you doing? What are you doing, Riot Sister? You're out of your mind. We got one going to Kursala, to Baby Dino Waifu, out to Cosmic Disorder Ghost for the win, and Gus Schultz. Enjoy your voice commands and enjoy your complete lack of commercials. That's really, of course, the best part. Cheeky Desk Nurgling, thank you so much for that follow. The Nurglings are pretty cheeky, aren't they? The latest rounds of Nurglings that exist in the 40k universe in model form have all been, I think cheeky is a good word for them. I'm not convinced I use that word right, because I'm not British. And, like, I hear you guys use it. I hear Studio J7 use the word cheeky. I'm not totally convinced I know all the nuances of using cheeky. I've heard people say, like, oh, how about a cheeky toke? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, that sounds good. And they're like, oh, he's just being cheeky. And I'm like, I don't actually know what that means. Cheeky is totally correct? I mean, okay, I'll roll with it. If I use the word, I'm going to use it wrong now, so I'm just going to leave it to you guys, if that's okay. Green Eyes Creations, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, that's Mrs. Studio, is it not, Mrs. Studio? Thank you so much for the follow. Thoroughly appreciated. I was just going over, we worked on this Spider-Man from Marvel Crisis Protocol a little bit last stream, and I had done some work on him between streams, just getting his highlights together and getting the web patterning done on the red parts of his costume. This is so much better than the first Spider-Man that I did. Have I got him here? Where's the other Spider-Man? I don't know where the other Spider-Man is, but it was not as good a job as this, if I may say so myself. So I'm pretty happy with how he's come together. Needs a little bit more work. I need to do some finishing touches on the black parts of his costume because they all read very gray to white right now. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with how Spidey looks. If I'd been thinking, I would have done the little armpit webs, you know, that he had when Todd McFarlane was doing his art. But I didn't do that, so I'm going to just live with that fact. Plank Walker, also with the follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. I hope you're having a good day, because I know I am. Lurker reporting in. I love my lurks. I love my lurks. Feel free to lurk, you guys. Follows are always appreciated, but if all you want to do is hang out for a little while and soak in the culture, please feel free to. I warn you that most of that culture is fairly degenerate, and the vast majority of our references are going to be to terrible pop culture. Just the worst. Just the ugh. Tasteless, really. I don't know why anybody follows at all. I did a little bit more on Captain America since the last time we did a little bit on him. He needs a few more highlights. I'm not totally happy with where the blue is on him right now. I'm pretty happy with the helmet. The shield needs some work. I'm definitely trying to do that high contrast NMM thing. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I need to broaden out. I think the white actually worked out really well. The red needs a little bit of love. And I think that I was just like high or something when I was choosing the directions for the shine lines, whatever you want to call them, for the reflection, for the glare on the metal of the shield. They're a little wild. I feel like the light source would have to be coming from like here for this to make any sense. But you know, whatever. It looks okay. It looks better than the last shield I did. So, you know, we gotta make our goals achievable, as it were. Oh, Momo Chalk. Momo Chocolate. You know, you gotta go ahead and unfollow then. Oh no. Yeah, I know, you're just a beacon of tastefulness, right, Momo? White Wolf had a question for me. White Wolf, what you got? Oh, just get one Abrams kit and try to figure out which version to build, or say fuck it and just buy 2 kits with one of them a full internal one. Why are you doing this to yourself, man? What are you getting these models with the full internals for? That just seems so painful. If you want it, if you want the one with the full internals, I say go for that one, man. And yeah, we're going to be working a little bit on Eomer today. We are doing our one brush to rule them all challenge as given by We're the Gamers / Greg the Salt Miner. Eomer is coming along, working on him and Firefoot with just a size 1 round, what brand? What brand is my brush? Artis Opus brush, which doesn't seem like much of a challenge, but I would normally be dry brushing and stippling a lot of details on here that I wound up doing with just a teeny tiny brush tip, like the patterning on the dappled gray of Firefoot. Guys, thank you so much for that hype train. 11 subs in such a short period of time. You guys are absolutely the best. Absolutely the best chat on Twitch, except maybe Studio J7's, but if I'm being honest, I like you guys just a little bit better. Of course, that works because many of the people from Studio J7 are here right now, so technically I'm not insulting anybody. Pleasure as always, but sleep time is needed. Studio J7, thank you so much for the raid, man. It means so much. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope you had a fan-fucking-tastic stream. I hope you have a great night. And guys, if you're not following Studio J7, please go give this man a follow. He is a big inspiration for a lot of what I do here on Twitch. He is a great dude. I think of all the Twitch painters I watch, he's the one who does the most actual work on stream. You know how it is. We just get to talking for long periods of time, and then it's like show and tell. I'm like, well, look at this model while I talk about something unrelated. This dude gets down and fucking paints, and I have immense respect for how engaging he is. Well, you know what, J7? You do more than most of us. So just take that and run with it. Oh, again, J7, thank you so much for the raid, man. You have a fantastic night. Yeah, I gotta wipe some water off my wet palette here. Always, always a pleasure. The Storm Report has its roots in Studio J7's Instagram reviews. I loved that feature on his stream when I first started watching Twitch, and I pretty much just ripped it off. And now it's why most people follow me. So that's something. Oh, I just punched my own earphone. Oh god, why do I do these things? Okay, what am I doing again? I need to highlight that yellow some. I need to highlight the brown leather, the red leather, the wood, the face. Man, I gotta do everything, but I think that the brown leather is a good direction to work in for the moment. Maybe some highlights on the red, and working on the horse's mane seems like a good idea, so let's do that. Using my Artis Opus size 1. I should put on a glove. I should put on a glove before I go rubbing paint all over my stupid hands. What are you readying up the Lord of the Rings for? I mean, I'm always in favor of it. If you're sitting around thinking maybe I'll watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies, extended cuts back to back. In general, I'm in favor of this. NMC. Oh, N. McKinney. N. McKinney. Wait, are you from North McKinney, Texas? That would make a certain amount of sense, wouldn't it? Thank you so much for the follow, McKinney. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the Storm Chasers. When your best friend started 6 hours ago, if he told me we could have synced up. Oh, that's a tragedy. You guys could have cried together when Boromir died, you know? I'm thinking a bit of a warm gray, like the Stonewall gray. I'm so bad at painting hair. I'm so bad at it, but we're gonna make it work. Oh yeah, that's right. Riot's sister reading Lord of the Rings in the background while I paint. God, I'll tell you what. When I paint Eowyn, we could totally do that. I got Eowyn in the mail the other day. Where is she? God. Oh God, yeah, I got Eowyn and Mary here to work on after Eomer comes together. Or rather, Dernhelm and Mary, huh? Yeah, because she's got the disguise helmet going on. Dernhelm. What a guy. I am no man. Alright, let's thin this out a fair bit. And start laying in some loose highlights. These Vallejo game colors come out very thick and require quite a lot of thinning, but the good thing is they thin very nicely even with just distilled water. I certainly appreciate that. I'm going to be going with some cool colors on the horse's mane because I think that will contrast nicely with the mostly warm colors surrounding it. It'll be fairly subtle though. Ooh, actually, I suppose, I don't know if these blue grays I got from Rainy Rivers, maybe you'll do Eowyn for next month's challenge. It's entirely possible. These might be too dark. I guess I could lay them down as base tones. Hang on, let me just squeeze out some of these paints from Rainy River Designs, just to see what they're like. I haven't even cracked them open yet. Maybe I can find a place to do them. What's up, Ion Raptor? How are we doing today? Kursala, thank you so much for getting that shout out. This is the gunmetal glaze. Ever used the Vallejo Magic Dust paints? I'm not familiar with them, Manrofasol. Alright, and then this is the Gun Barrel Black. That could work, actually. Now the glaze, yeah, this is much thinner, and seems like it is meant to be used as a glaze or a filter. It has very low surface tension, and I'll bet this would wash nicely into some crevices. It has a nice blue tone to it. Ooh, that's pretty good. Let's take a look at this gunmetal black. That's a nice dark, kind of flat blue-gray. And this one could stand a little bit of thinning. This is much more like a paint. Let's try this out. Let's try this out as the base color for Firefoot's mane. Yeah? And then work it up into some blue-grays. Why not? Actually, it's a nice blue, isn't it? Look at that. I like that color. Also mildly metallic. Mildly. Well, I can probably dull that down a little bit. What I've got here is actually darker than that still. I'll use it as a first round highlight. Oh, now I'm seeing it. Now I'm seeing the metallic. Oh yeah, there's little metal flakes in there. I'm actually glad I noticed that before I started putting it down. I mean, you also told it to me. Put it down here and see how it looks. Yeah. Little subtle bits of metal flaking in there. Okay. In that case, you know what? I'm not going to use it for the horse's hair because that might come out a little bit funny. But I think I will use... With this glaze, it's a little metallic too, isn't it? Ooh, I kind of like that. Yeah, there's just the slightest bit of metal flaking in there. Alright, I am gonna save these and use them a little bit probably on his armor and sword instead, because that will work nicely. I like that idea. Yeah. So I'll use my original blue-gray. Momo, these were sent to me by our very own Kursala and Data Nerd, who have recently started a company called Rainy River Designs, creating a number of cool things, including the merch that we have here for Thunderhead Studio, which you can get a link to their site by putting !merch into the chat there. And God, I saw somebody just a minute ago asking what's on the 3D printer. I'm so sorry I didn't answer that. Anytime, if you're curious, you can hit !STL in chat, and it will generally give you a readout of what it is that I have printing. But Kursala sent these to me because he is apparently considering producing some miniature painting.
Welcome everyone to Thunderhead Studios, where the only rule is...
It's an important rule.
Don't show me your genitals. Please have fun, be safe, and above all...
Don't show them to me. For the love of God. Don't do it. It's a simple rule. I don't want to see your cash and prizes. I know, you're thinking to yourself right now, that's not fair though. I have a particularly attractive set of genitalia, and you know what? That may be true. I'm not saying it's not. I am in no way impugning your junk. That is not my purpose here. I just don't want to see it in the Storm Report, guys. The Storm Report, by the way, a bit we do at the end of every stream. If you'd like to see some of your work right here on the stream, like to get a little critique, a little feedback, even just show off something you're particularly proud of, it is so easy to participate in. All you have to do is join up into the Thunderhead Studio Discord, go into the channel, mark the Storm Report, and post up to 2 pictures of anything creative you've been working on. I do suggest you read the rules beforehand. There are some rules. They're not terribly draconian. They're mostly don't show me your genitals. That's an important rule. We're on the internet, guys. You know how it goes. It's almost a bit too blue. Almost a bit too blue. Let's mix in some more gray.
When watching Thunderhead stream, you may feel the urge to do the cha-cha because he likes to slide it to the left and then slide it to the right and then hold it off screen entirely. Come on, Thunderhead, put it back on camera.
Cat gave me some new voice clips specifically for using when I'm out of focus, and I did not rig them up for use today. Cat, I'm so sorry. But here soon you'll be able to yell at me specifically for being out of focus. And won't that be something? I'm not going to worry too much about how blue this is. I'm just going to highlight it in, and then I'm going to give the whole thing a black wash anyway, and that should kind of help to desaturate what colors I work in. Yeah, I just haven't put them off yet. Oh, Sheza. You got me. And also, that's fine. Kitty cats are more than welcome. I'm a cat person, ultimately. I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but if I have to pick cat person or dog person, I am a cat person. That probably says something about me. I don't know what, though. I like a little edge in my pet, you know? I like a little resentment, even when I'm being nice to them. That's why we get along so well. What about burbs? I like birds. I like being around other people's birds more than I think I would like having a bird of my own. Birds they're tiny dinosaurs. They're little, murderous dinosaurs. And I respect them for what they are. For being the descendant of some of the greatest apex predators the world has ever known. Hell, some birds today are still among the greatest apex predators. You ever seen a bald eagle up close? You want to tangle with that shit? Because I don't. I'm pretty sure it would kill me. Alien Tony, not to be confused with human Tony. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Welcome to me painting horsehair badly because I try to get better at painting hair, and I think I have gotten better at it, but I'm never satisfied with the texturing or the highlighting that I do. I gotta remind myself to leave large portions of it really quite dark and only do a few highlights, but I'm always tempted to highlight like each strand individually, and I know it's not a good method. So I'm just kind of broadly laying down this first layer to indicate where the light is falling, and then I'll do some more specific highlights afterward. A geese could have an edge. Geese are mean, dude. I've been attacked by a goose. They don't fuck around. They're serious. Every time I watch, what's it called? Jurassic Park? You know, in the beginning of the movie, when he's describing velociraptors? And the one kid is like, it doesn't sound very scary. It sounds like a 6-foot turkey. I always find myself thinking like, dude, a 6-foot turkey would kill the shit. Like, a normal-sized turkey is pretty scary when it's pissed off. A 6-foot turkey? Pff, fucking good night. Good night. Sheza, samesies. I find myself like, let me put it this way. If I'm crawling into bed at night, and the cat has sort of just laid up in my spot, I don't move the cat. I play human Tetris around the cat so as not to disturb them. That's how under control I am as an owner. Turkeys are tough. How you doing, T-Squared? Good to see you, man. A wild turkey clawed and pecked the shit out of my stepmom's dog while the pupper joined me for a run once. Felt so helpless. Wanted to help, but I didn't know how or want to fight the turkey. You know, I don't blame you. They're scary and vicious and very, very pointy in some parts of their body and really aggressive. And it's like, you know, I don't want to hurt. Like, honestly, as a person, deep down, the me, the absolute me of it all, I don't want to hurt anything. I don't want to hurt any animals. Like, I'm not, like, jonesing for the opportunity to boot a turkey. I don't fantasize about it, so in the moment, I'd probably hesitate, too. It seems fucking terrifying. Chaotic Harmony. How's it going, my man? Did we get a shout-out? Yeah, we got a shout-out for Chaotic Harmony. Of course we did. How are things, man? Those missiles still going whoosh over there? I've heard you've had some very wholesome games of MechWarrior Online lately. So wholesome. I stopped in the other day and it was like I was watching Fred Rogers. playing MWO. It just made me feel good inside, you know? Turkeys are aggressive because they're too dumb to know when they're risking their lives. That's what I always think with... Now, obviously, they're more intelligent than insects or flies, but just as far as perspective goes, that's a thought that I always have when flies are buzzing around me. You know? Oh, the cat's watching me. The cat's watching me. Hang on, let's have a quick look here. Oh, kitty cat. Oh. What kind of cat is that? Because Kitty here looks actually quite a lot like my my old Bengal that I lost earlier this year. That is still something of a tender spot for me. Dr. Rhino, how we doing today? Can we get a shout out for Dr. Rhino? I gotta say, can we get a shout out as fast as I can because my mods are more on top of this shit than I am. I have to pretend like I'm doing something here, for God's sake. I saw that. Yeah, Fred Rogers' wife passed. Yeah, it sucks. Normally I'd hang out and watch the fun while you're having with the one brush to rule them all challenge. Got a bunch of animation homework. Dude, yeah, go art. Go do your arting. You got shit to do. We're the gamers. Thank you for stopping in, man. How you doing today, Dr. Rhino? Another fantastic streamer and really, really good painter. A lot of fun to hang out with in chat. If you haven't given Dr. Rhino a follow, definitely do so. Interesting dude, raises a lot of money for rhinos, as it were. Good old rhinos. I don't really know that much about rhinos. I guess I don't have any reason to know that much about rhinos. Just kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, I guess I don't really have that much functional rhino knowledge. I'm kind of rhino illiterate. I'm glad to hear that, Dr. Rhino. Ever got rammed by a goat and you didn't feel bad later when you were eating it? Yeah, okay. A motherfucker comes at me, you know. I don't know. I've never, like... I don't have any problem with the general paradigm of animals being food and dying so that I can eat. I don't have much of a problem with that paradigm as it is. It's usually the particulars that get me. I have my problems with the industry behind certain forms of animal husbandry and slaughter. But those are issues with, again, industries and the direction that the invisible hand of market forces push them in. I don't particularly want to raise anything that I'm going to eat, but that's because I know I become attached to animals. And I don't particularly want to know the animal before I sink tooth into it, but that never stops me from enjoying meat. Now that said, I don't want to kill anything myself, and I fully acknowledge that. Since I've lived out here in this fairly rural area that I now live in, I have had to take the lives of several animals that some might classify as vermin or varmints, and it has hurt me every single time. I do it because I have to, but I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. I always think that it's my fault. Like, of the two of us, of all the creatures involved in the transaction in which they lose their life, like, I'm the one who has the capacity to make plans. I'm the one whose responsibility it ultimately was to keep them from winding up in the spot where I then have to kill them. It's been a couple of skunks are the ones that really, really stand out. Of course, a number of people from chat might remember the incident with the thunder skunk. That was a hellacious day. Couple of days, out to a week, I was trying to get that son of a bitch out of my shop. That was one of those where I felt terrible, but I was like, you know, I don't have much of a choice. It's my fault that you wound up in here, but now that you're in here, it has to happen. If it had been a less noxious beast, it would have been a different story. But skunks... You ain't lived. You ain't lived until you have looked down the barrel, if you will pardon my language, until you have looked down the puckered, weaponized anus of a skunk that is getting ready to blast you in the face. That is aimed, that is charged, that is flexed, that is prepared. It's horrifying. It is horrifying. So it was war, and I chose myself and my chosen animals over him. But I don't feel good about it. And like I said, I view it as my responsibility. As the reasoning being here, it's my responsibility to keep them from winding up in a scenario, to prevent the development of situations where they wind up in my crosshairs, you know? Because it's not really his fault. He was looking for someplace warm, he was looking for food, and I was threatening. He doesn't recognize property laws. I'll stop harping on it, though. Subject always depresses me a lot. I don't even remember how I started talking about it. I think we were talking about turkeys or something like that. But the point, ladies and gentlemen, if I can bring it back around to some of the caring individuals in this world, like Dr. Rhino, is that I really, really... I love animals. I love all of them. Even the ones that are awful. I respect them, you know? That's not to say rhinos are awful. That's not what I was trying to lead into. I think rhinos are cute. How did I get myself in this particular... You ever like, you're on a line, you're on a conversation thread, and you get to a point, and you're like, how did I get here? What led to this exactly? Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Phage brought up goats. Okay, y'all got me. You got me twisted. Gonna get my Battletech starter in the mail tomorrow. Thanks to this chat for convincing me to jump in. Soda Addict, I'm glad to hear that. Battletech is a fantastic game. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Apartment is close to the parking lot, and at least once a week somebody hits a skunk. God, they're awful. They're awful. Awful beasts. I show up in Animal Conversation, just happens. Wait, you show up in Animal Conversation happens? Because what you wrote is you show up in Animal Conservation happens. And of the two things, that's better, I have to say. Animal conservation is incredibly important, more than ever today. It's one of those things where by the time you really notice that it's not happening and the effects have started to kick in, it's already too late to do anything about it. And we definitely had a lot of time in human development when we were just like, build all the things, kill all the beasts, and didn't care much for animal conservation, and it has come back to bite us in the ass in a number of ways. Hell, if you don't believe in animal conservation for the sake of the animals, do it for the sake of your kids. You want them to see animals one day too, right? Not just like robot animals or vat-grown beasts. Fucking Blade Runner style. Watch her take the pleasures from the serpent. Oh, that was kind of a bad swoop there. Alright, let's lighten that up and highlight a bit more. Okay, yeah, fuck coyotes. I agree with that. Particularly where I live right now, like, coyotes are just... Here's the thing, though. Coyotes don't need our help. On the other hand, coyotes are also generally smart enough to stay the fuck away from me. Coyotes don't want to be caught anywhere near human beings. But they are nasty little bastards, and they are major opportunists. I think one of the most telling things about coyotes, we get coyotes constantly where I am, and I have a windbreak north of my house where they like to nest because it's some of the only thick tree cover for a long way around. And on nights when they're out there really like denning up, you can shine a flashlight just north of the house and you can see their eyes. And I think one of the most telling things about their intelligence and their desire to generally stay away from human beings is you shine a light out to the windbreak and you'll see the coyote eyes and they immediately go boop and disappear. They look down, they look away from the light. They know someone's looking at them and they don't want any part of it. They're smart. Smart little bastards. And one of the things I read about them too, because a lot of people out here had the attitude of like, well, go out and hunt them. Go shoot the coyotes. Black Knight, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. I'm just rambling about nonsense right now. Don't mind me. Coyotes are one of those beasts where if you go shoot them, if you reduce their population by a significant enough amount to make a difference, it triggers a breeding boom. If you don't wipe out the entire pack of coyotes, if you leave even a breeding pair, they start breeding again in greater numbers, and they replenish their numbers or even grow past them. They're like the Hydra of varmints. There are a number of animals that do that, but coyotes in particular, I guess, do. And that's something that I learned from the local Colorado Wildlife Commission, because the popular country knowledge is, well, shoot the coyotes! And then I'm like, let me ask some people with a little bit more particular knowledge about our coyote problem out here in the plains. And their response was all, no, don't shoot the coyotes. You're just going to make the problem worse. Like, if you're going to shoot them, shoot all of them. But if you can't shoot all of them, which you can't, you're not going to get them all, leave them alone. So, that's how we have to do. Hail Coyote. What's up, Shock21? How you doing? Achilles Blade, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. That's a fun tidbit. Don't shoot the coyote unless you can shoot all the coyotes. I'm sorry. I am very, very sorry to hear that they got your cat, Roland. They have taken a couple of our barn kitties in the time that we've been out here. Okay, to be fair, I think they've taken a couple of our barn kitties. I've never actually found proof that it happened. But it is the most likely outcome in a few of those cases, and that makes me sad every single time. I know that barn cats, like, you're not supposed to get super attached to them just due to the nature of their relationship with the property. They're here to fulfill a very particular role, and they do that role well, and their lives are somewhat expendable. This is the popular knowledge. I have a hard time with that. Sometimes I tell myself, like, well, I'm not going to name this one so I don't feel as bad when they inevitably pass. But that doesn't last, because then the kitty cat does something cute when I'm nearby, and I'm like, well, your name is now such and such. We got Sergeant Meowenstein. We got Corporal Frankenfloof. We've got Keanu. We've got Roxy. Good old Roxanne. Who was named first because I thought that she was the mother of many of the kittens that were out here when I got out here, but as it turns out, she was actually fixed. So that was impossible. I had confused her with another gray cat, who we wound up naming Jinx, because she looked exactly like Roxy. Poor Jinxie got hit by a car, though. That sucked. That sucked. We've lost an unfortunate number of cats to people who like to drive really, really fast on country roads, and I hate that because I have to clean that up, and that makes me very, very sad. I mean, I don't hate it because I have to clean it up. I do hate the fact that I have to clean it up. But, that's the cycle of life out here. Hail Coyote Hydra. I'll do a red skull and put a little coyote on his arm. Now, to be fair, Sheza, Keanu is not named Keanu after the cat Keanu in the Key and Peele movie called Keanu, about the kitten named Keanu. Keanu is named Keanu because he wears like a suit and tie, and he's also like pretty rough and tumble and stoic. So he's named after John Wick. I realize both animals are ultimately named after Keanu Reeves, but still. Are there any other Keanus? Like, I'm trying to think. Any other Keanu that I know at all? I can't think of any. So we're going to be having the 1-year streamiversary coming up this Wednesday on the 20th. I will have been streaming here on Twitch for 1 whole year. I've thought a lot about what to do for the day. Some big, massive storm report, some kind of crazy clip show, something like that. I gotta be honest, I haven't liked, I've thought about a lot of the ideas, started to put them together, and then been like, I don't know. I kind of want to stick to basics. And just do some painting, you know? Why go crazy? Why overcomplicate things? We're gonna do a little something. We're gonna have a couple of giveaways, both for subscribers and for non-subscribers. We're going to be giving away some merch. We're going to be giving away a 3D printed Borealis dropship for your Battletech playing pleasure. We're going to be giving away an Ender 3 3D printer to one of our lucky subscribers. But I think as far as the overall content, we're mostly just going to paint some models. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to go back to basics, back to our roots, because a year ago, I wasn't doing crazy stuff. I wasn't hosting a game show. I wasn't doing a clip show. I wasn't, doing anything nuts. I was sitting down with a model and a brush, and I was painting. That's what we do here. So we're going to paint a little something. And we're going to give some stuff away. And we're going to have a storm report, and it's going to be a good damn time, just like it always is. I think I'm spoiled by this chat. You guys are always fun to hang out with. You always make these streams just a massive pleasure to be in. So I don't feel the need to do anything super crazy, because every stream we have is a little bit nuts as it is. Today's the day the movie Johnny Mnemonic happens. Wait, is today really the day that Johnny Mnemonic happens? Ooh, interesting. I'm not opposed to doing a Thunderhead Studio clip show. I put out a little feeler a while ago to see if people would send me their favorite clips from the last year, and I didn't actually get that many responses. We got a lot of clips. I'll tell you what, though, if you guys do have a favorite clip from this channel, please do forward it to me so I can add it to a list, because we're going to have some more celebrations here before too much longer, because we just keep knocking out milestone after. I didn't even do anything special for 1,000 followers because it fell so close to, the streamiversary is also, if you look up here, I'm pointing to it with my brush right here. 99 of 100. Today is the 99th art stream that we have done here at Thunderhead Studio, and we will be doing the 100th on Wednesday, in addition to the streamiversary. Like I said, because of the proximity of that, I was like, part of me was hoping that we'd hit 1,000 on the same day, but we did it a little bit before. You guys, really, you do all this. I'm just sitting here in front of my camera, painting some stupid minis, rambling about my favorite thing that I watched on TV recently, and everything that this stream is ultimately, it comes down to you guys in the chat. To you amazing people, you talented artists, you incredibly supportive nerds, freaks, and geeks out there in the Twitchverse. Thank you guys so much for making this stream such a pleasure to host. Did I just call my audience freaks? Oof. I don't think Harris Heller advises that one. Ooh, there's a new episode of Attack on Titan tonight, you guys. Is Alaric Kerensky in the chat? Because I know he's excited about it. Who else? Come on, there's got to be somebody else in chat right now. Somebody in chat right now is excited about Attack on Titan. It can't just be me. It can't just be me. Based off the idea from Sheza Gaming, how cool would it be for my 1 year in September to do a live stream from a zoo doing a private encounter with a... Dude, I'd watch the fuck out of that, Dr. Rhino. That would be amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Do that. If you can make that happen, and you got enough time between now and then to plan it out, that would be an amazing stream, dude. That would be like really unique Twitch content, and I would so tune in for that. Hell yeah. Yeah, do it. No, that's a great idea. Cosmic Disorder's excited. Fuck yeah. Oh, Roland. Not excited about Attack on Titan at all. It's hard not to be. Dude, tonight's episode is going to be fucking crazy. Like, this whole season so far has been slow burn, slow conversation. It's like the few episodes leading up to the Attack on Trost. Do you remember that? Season 1? When it's like, okay, lots of talking, lots of I'm gonna do this, lots of Eren being like, I'm gonna kill every Titan in the universe with just my balls. And then the Attack on Trost happens and the show is just like, whoa, dialed up to 11 for like 10 episodes. Shit is about to happen, and then that shit is gonna be interrupted for more long, slow dialogue to inform the action. But you know what? By now I'm fine with it. By now I am fine with that being how the show plays out. And I'll tell you, it's because Attack on Titan, for all the mystery that it presents, for all the craziness that it exposes the viewer to, it has continually paid off all of its mysteries. I mean, by now we have answers to the mysteries that are presented in Season 1 that are like the hook of the show. When you're like, why are there big androgynous naked people eating everyone? Well, now we know. We know generally why that's happening. So if you've ever been hesitant to get into Attack on Titan because you thought they weren't going to answer any questions and it was just going to be mysterious crap, know that they will give you answers eventually. And as long as you can stand the hyperdrama, it's totally worth watching. Which, to be fair, some people can't. No knock against them, it is ridiculous hyperdrama. But I gotta have my stories. Started watching Iron-Blooded Orphans again. I think I mentioned that last time, because I watched it when it was coming out. I'm a little bit out of focus here, I'm sorry about that. I watched it when it was coming out the first time, and I stopped before Season 2 began, so I actually have a lot of catching up to do. I know, White Wolf, I know. Eren's balls ain't shit, but then they are shit again. It's a good way of putting it. Yeah, Eren is a raging murder elemental at this point. Alright, next round of highlights, and then I'm going to put a wash on the horsehair and move to working on Eomer's armor. There's white paint on my face? No? Okay, good. I thought I might have. In this final round of highlights, I'm going to use a very slightly warm light gray. So I'm kind of trying to push that contrast between the shadows and the highlights here. Normally I'll stick to a temperature across a whole item, but I think a little bit of variation here, because it's, you know, natural, because it's hair, I think that'll pay off. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I kind of like the way that it's like, when I was first watching Attack on Titan, like, episode by episode, week by week, I got really, really frustrated by how slow a lot of the episodes were, but looking back on it, like, all the detail that was presented in those between episodes is actually fairly relevant. And I appreciate the way they broke up things, like the battle, like the Battle of Trost was broken up by, it was like, okay, here are the events of the day, this is what happens. And then the next, like, 8 episodes were, okay, but here's something that happened that morning, and here's why it's relevant to the events of the day. And it all wound up, actually, informing a lot of fairly deep character development. I say fairly deep because it's all kind of tropey, but they're tropes that I enjoy, so I can't complain too much. I think that this hair is actually coming out pretty decent. With that black wash, I think that's really going to come together. Thoughts on WandaVision? Mostly negative, if I'm being honest. I'm not like... Here's the thing. I'll give any show a chance. I'll give it a full... Any show, really. I'll give a full season to find out what the hell it is that it wants to be. I think that the chosen release format for WandaVision might have been a mistake, because the first 2 episodes are fucking boring. Maybe I've heard from the early reviews that episode 3 changes things up a lot, and maybe what they should have done is release the first 3 episodes, because the first 2 are just self-indulgent pseudo-sitcom satire, and all I can think as I'm watching it is I've seen exactly this trope done before, but better. Like, I've seen other shows do exactly this, but better. So it's hard for me to get too excited about. I think it would also have worked better if I didn't know who these characters were. But it's like, the premise is given up 5 minutes into the first episode. You're like, okay, look, I know who Wanda is, I know who Vision is, I know what Vision is. I know very well that they're not characters in a fucking 1960s, 1950s sitcom. So obviously something fucky is going on. More than likely, it's Wanda generating some false reality that she's living in. Okay, boom, I got it. The fact that they then spend the next 2 episodes indulging in satirical tropes while vaguely hinting, hey, something isn't right. Something is amiss. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I know something's amiss, because I know these characters don't exist inside a fucking television show. You don't have to tell me that. But they don't actually reveal any of the details about what's amiss. And I'm like... So they kind of spend 2 episodes running around in circles. And... I'm hoping it pays off. I'm hoping it pays off because... I'm sorry, I keep knocking plosives into the fucking microphone there. I'm hoping that it pays off. Because I think that television is the right medium for Marvel content. These are characters that were written initially in their original form to fit into weekly episodic content. That is the nature of the comic book, you know? But it's an odd choice for a first go. And I love Paul Bettany. I think Paul Bettany is just the shit. So, here's hoping that they pull it together and that they know where they're going. And, you know, credit where credit is due. I appreciate their willingness to do something different. To not just release the bog standard superhero show on their first outing. I'm never going to fault people for taking risks, but it is worth noting that those risks don't always pay off. Such is the nature of risk. It was not supposed to be the first release of this phase. I think we're missing some info. That seems entirely possible, too. I mean, they dropped enough hints. I'm like, yeah, Strucker's gonna be the bad guy. I get it. And part of me is like, well, I'm glad that Strucker actually gets to be a character, because he was just sort of thrown away in the Avengers movies. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, get on with it. Like, I don't need to watch Wanda having, like, awkward PTA meetings with stereotypical 1950s housewives. I'm good. So if I could give a final verdict based on only 2 episodes, that verdict would be, wait for a few more episodes to come out before you start watching it. I think that if you haven't started watching it yet, you'll be better served waiting for a few more. Yeah, and Sword. Yeah, they're introducing Sword. I guess they alluded to Sword... Why am I pronouncing the W like that? That's weird. I guess they introduced it a little bit in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., didn't they? I thought that they mentioned it before, but I could be misremembering. It's been a long time since I watched any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, thank you. I knew that it was someplace Datron Voltari. Yeah, mentioned in S.H.I.E.L.D., introduced in Spider-Man Far From Home. A movie that I think I liked better than a lot of the reviewers. I thought Far From Home was pretty solid. It wasn't like, you know... It's not going to change anybody's life, but I liked their rendition of Mysterio. I thought that that was a solid update to the character. Though it was a funny choice trying to be like, maybe he's not a villain. I'm like, yeah, that'll fool like a dozen people in the audience, maybe. The few people who either haven't heard of the famous Spider-Man villain Mysterio, or who didn't Google his name immediately upon hearing that he was in the movie. Yeah, they're going to be real surprised. Good job, guys. Alright, I'm going to throw down a black wash. Probably do another round of highlighting on the horse hair. But not for a little while, anyway. If you could greenlight a miniseries on any Marvel hero that hasn't had a show, or who will soon have a show, who would you pick? So my answer, I'll come up with a better answer, because my immediate knee-jerk answer to that has recently acquired a movie of his own, and casting has been going through for a while, and I love the choices they've made so far. That would be Moon Knight. I would love, love, love to see a Moon Knight show. It looks like what we're getting is a Moon Knight movie. I'm fine with this, really. Perfectly fine with this. I'm going to put a little bit of Flow Aid in my black wash. I like Moon Knight quite a lot. Other than him, honestly? First of all, there needs to be an X-Men show. Not an X-Men movie, an X-Men show. Because the content of X-Men is, again, much more suited to episodic releases and to being adaptable to modern social trends, because X-Men is at its core a story about racism and bigotry, fascism, and social unrest. This is what X-Men is about in all of its truest forms, and this is where X-Men shines. And I would love to see a show for the X-Men. Other than, you know, the Wolverine cartoon show that we got in the 90s. As cool as that. Yeah, Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight, and that is pretty damned exciting. Yeah, no, that's exactly it, Datron Voltari. Moon Knight is batshit fucking crazy. Moon Knight is nonsense. Moon Knight, I feel like, is one of the few characters that they can play in the wake of Deadpool and still have be fairly shocking. Not just in its attitude, but also in the relative violence of it. I'm interested to see what they do with that. But what I'm leading into here is, first of all, I want to see the X-Men show. But the reason I want to see the X-Men show is because I want another show. My real answer is the show that I want to follow that, which is a show about Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants. That is a show that I want to see. A real show developing the character of Magneto, the formation of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and their role in society relative to the X-Men as radicalized outsiders. I'd love to see that. I think that would be cool as hell. And once that's had a chance to darken, I think that'll look pretty decent. Come and do a little bit more after the fact. What are they doing with X-Men now? I know that Disney acquired the rights to X-Men, did they not? From Fox? They have to have designs. They must have designs on something. And it can't just be a new goddamn Wolverine movie, because let's face it, Hugh Jackman, the hugest of Ackmans, delivered really quite a solid Wolverine for quite a long time, through both good and bad movies. And it would be kind of weird to trade him out for somebody else just yet. Also, it would be nice to have some X-Men content that wasn't basically just about Wolverine. That's been going on since the 90s. I mean, like I said, even the cartoon show that we had in the 90s, the X-Men cartoon show, most of you were there, you watched it. It was the Wolverine show. Occasionally, Cyclops would feature on the Wolverine show, but it was mostly a Wolverine show. Disney breaks everything it touches. Disney... Here's the thing that is important to realize about Disney. And I'm not going to rant for a long time about the evils of Disney, because I don't think Disney is evil. Disney is utterly amoral. Disney lacks any semblance of a soul. Not the company itself, but the people who work at it. In an aggregate sense, they all lack souls. Disney makes money. That's their product. They make money. And if something gets in the way of their making of money, they drop it. It's why I reacted the way I did when I heard that they dropped James Gunn. Because I am... I'm not even... I don't want to get into this subject because I know a lot of people disagree on this one. But I'm not even against repercussions hitting people for things that they've said in the past. Again, I know that this is a touchy subject, and I don't want to get into the details on it, because, again, we probably will disagree on it. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, I have no problem with people who say shitty things having to pay for those shitty things, even well after the fact when they're discovered. I really don't. I think that is overall a positive thing. However, even from that perspective, what Disney did when they responded to James Gunn's old tweets was like... I don't believe for a second that Disney did it because they were concerned for anybody's rights. I don't think Disney did it because they care about anyone. I think Disney did it because they saw... They looked at that and they went, we're going to lose money. And the money machine had its knee-jerk reaction and it booted them out. And I think the surest sign of this is that shortly thereafter, when people went, whoa, don't do that, this isn't that bad, they were like, okay, fine, bring it back in. They don't make any decision for any moral or ethical reason because they have no morals and they have no ethics. This is just money. And what I'm coming around to here, Fluke Skywalker, is what I've watched them do to Star Wars and the weird position that Star Wars finds itself in right now. Let me go ahead and switch out to strong tone wash while I'm doing this so that I'm actually painting something. Disney has learned how to weaponize and, more importantly, monetize your nostalgia. And they're doing it with Marvel. They are doing it with Star Wars. They're doing it with all the old Disney cartoons now. We're gonna be sick of Star Wars, guys. Like, this is my prediction. Maybe I'm totally wrong, and I will fucking eat crow if I am. But I think that within 10 years' time, we are going to be truly sick of Star Wars. Even the people who are fairly into it now, when they hear about a new Star Wars release, are going to react like, oh, God, here we go again. Another one. More Star Wars. Yeah, that's exactly what we need, because Disney is going to beat that horse until it's dead, and then they're going to continue beating it. They will take your childhood, they will murder it, they will prop it up like a marionette, and they will pump cash into it in liquid form so that you pay to see the death rattles and the judders and the shakes that its body gives as money is pumped through where blood once flowed. And they'll do that until you stop paying them, and then they'll move on to something else. That's just how it is. They might make... The next round of Star Wars stuff is probably going to be pretty good. It's probably going to be pretty good. Because it is going to be crafted by a combination of committees and algorithms with massive quantities of aggregate data on what people enjoy watching and what they will pay. So it's probably going to be pretty good for a while. And they'll just keep making it over and over, the same thing, constantly, until it stops making money. And then they will drop it so damn fast. Let me pull out a red to work a little bit on this armor with. Some Aldebaran red? Yeah, it seems like a good move. I know, isn't it, Nanotanks? Very, very cheery indeed. Ooh, no, I don't want to squeeze. Okay, so this Aldebaran red, I literally, just the other day, I had this bottle out, and you see that split in it? I don't know how this is as jammed up as it is. I've tried to clear it like 3 times, and I really can't. I'm like not sure what's blocking it. I have to scoop it out. Because the other day, I took this, and I started to put it on my palate, and I just squeezed, and then... You know that moment when you're like, I know that I shouldn't do this, but it won't hurt me this one time, and I just kept squeezing, and half the bottle just went all out on my palate. It was bad. So I'm just going to scoop some out with a brush until I can get another squeezy topper for it.
Welcome back to 50 Shades of Coal Gray. And as he pulled his stiff bristles out of my wet fluids, I yelled out, "No, Thunderhead! You need to thin that paint first!"
I like this Aldebaran red. It's a nice halfway point between red and orange for highlighting. without being too orange. If you're putting it over a red, it really just plays as a very light red. Or Lucas will come back out of retirement and put... Like, man, even that wouldn't help us, because by now we should all realize that Lucas... I don't know. I love Filoni, I really do, but Filoni's not infallible. What I've learned in the recent saga of Star Wars and its production is that it's me that has to change. It's not them. Their behavior is predictable. Their behavior is determined by maths, ultimately. My behavior relative to Star Wars is determined by nostalgia. And I have to control myself. I have to decide how I'm going to respond to things. That's the only power that I really have. And bad things in Star Wars only hurt me because I allow myself to become so invested in them. Now, admittedly, I allowed myself to become invested in them because I grew up with these properties. But I'm an adult, and at a certain point, I have to let it go. You know? At a certain point, I have to look at myself in the mirror and just say, win in Rome. This armor is such a pain in the ass. But I want to paint it to match the props that Karl Urban wore. It's just that the way it was built is not conducive to model painting. Like at all. Oh well, we're gonna do it anyway. Holy moly, Riot's sister tossing out that tier 1 sub over to Fade Rats. How you doing, Fade Rat? Are you in the chat, Fade Rat? You hanging out? Oh, I missed something. Oh, posture check. Oh, thank you so much to Squared. I wouldn't. In fact, that's one of my favorite parts of the new canon, Fluke Skywalker, is the development of Obi-Wan and Maul through the Clone Wars, and finally their finale in Rebels. I think that's some of the most Star Wars ever to Star Wars. And that's the thing, Filoni has done some amazing things with the series. What's weird for me is that the one episode that he directed of The Mandalorian Season 2 is quite possibly my least favorite episode of the season. Like, I really quite disliked that episode for a number of reasons. Not all of which have to do with the wasting of Michael Biehn, though that did irritate me. That did. Thank you so much for the reminder. I will go ahead and hydrate a little bit. And we have another one going out to Fluke Skywalker. Thank you so much. How you doing, Wandering XP? Yeah, he's coming along. I'm kind of arguing with myself about how I want to do some of these parts, but as it is right now, I'm going to highlight up this red. I'm going to give the whole thing, I think, a wash of Vallejo smoke to kind of tone it down. And Wandering XP, I want to show you my Captain America. He's not finished yet. But he's coming together. I really kind of like the... I wasn't sure if the fingerless gloves would look good, but actually I think they look pretty badass. Now that I've done them. Now that we have crossed the threshold.
Threshold! Take us to the threshold!
Yeah. Oh, Coral with the gift sub over to Phage for no... You guys with the gift subs today, you're out of control. Thank you so much for that, oh, Coral. How you doing, man? The shield needs more work. It's the most aggressive NMM I've done, and I think it proves that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I keep practicing, you know? But yeah, Steve Rogers is coming together. Thank you so much, Wandering XP. By the way, did we get a shout-out? We did, because my mods are among the very finest of mods, you know? Yeah, I'll use this for my red highlight, and then I'm going to do one more touch-up with a real desaturated red. Because his armor is very, like, ox blood. stained leather. It's not really a bright red, but if I don't use a little bit of orange, it's just gonna read like brown. I don't want that either. So Eomer's armor in the movie is steel armor, steel and brass. And over the primary plates of his armor is then a layer of oxblood red leather that is carved into these intricate patterns that you can see. So it's a steel breastplate with a layer of leather over top of it. And if you go look at the images of the actual costume that he wore in the movie, like, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous armor. But again, it doesn't lend itself very well to miniaturization. Like, it's really intricate even at full size. So I'm just gonna try to sell it as best I can here. Because the lower parts of the armor should all be metallic, and the upper parts are then all red. Ooh, we have a warrior from the land of Penis. What's going on, Penis Land Warrior? You always make me say the crassest things. Hope you're having a good... Dude, I saw that fucking helmet your brother just did. The tanker trooper from Mandalorian Season 2. Oof. Really, really badass paint job, man. Pass on my appreciation, if you please. You're just saying that because Carl Urban's in it. You would have his children in a heartbeat. If that were physiologically possible, yes. I'm not even going to pretend like that's not true. I'm a very hetero man. And part of being exactly that is being, you know, comfortable enough in my sexuality to recognize when I see a man and I think to myself, if I had to, that's the guy. That's the guy right there. So like Carl Urban and like John Hamm and maybe Henry Cavill. Like, I can totally see those. I can totally see those happening. I must the Channel Point Redemption.
Thunderhead Stream,
oh god,
you may feel the urge to do the cha-cha because he likes to slide it to the left and then slide it to the right and then hold it off screen entirely. Come on, Thunderhead, put it back on camera.
The sequel trilogy, Firestarter? The sequel trilogy. That's what you want me to... You want me to compliment the sequel trilogy. Hold on, we have to define this a little bit. We have to define this a little bit. Firestarter, do you mean that I need to compliment the entire, like, the trilogy as a whole, as a unit? Or can I compliment specific aspects of the trilogy without complimenting the whole? This is important, because one of these things is much easier than the other. The trilogy as a unit. Ah, fuck. Oh. What are you doing to me, man? Why do I still have that channel option even available? What am I doing? What's wrong with me? I should know better. As a whole, let me think. Okay, no. You know what? You know what? I got something. I got something that the whole trilogy did right. One of my least favorite things in the prequel trilogy. Damn it. This is just tricky because these are such tiny little pieces of plastic and the paint always wants to run down into the crevices, but those are the parts I'm really trying not to paint. I need a slightly thicker paint is what I need. Slightly thicker. The lightsaber fighting was pretty good. Overall. There are parts of it that were not so good, certainly. There was some of the choreography was truly unfortunate at times. But a lot of it was pretty good, and the overall direction of it was very solid. And I say this because, as mentioned, I was not a fan of the lightsaber fighting in the prequel trilogy, but Thunderhead, that doesn't make any sense. That was the best of the lightsaber fighting, so many people would say, including Greg the Salt Miner / We're the Gamers, were he here right now and not doing work. If you're lurking, Greg, I'm thinking of you. I didn't like the fancy schmancy diving all over the place, glow stick rave fights that they had in the prequels. I was not a fan of that at all. It was very pretty, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense. This is really shown in a couple of YouTube videos that people have done. At least one person did a breakdown of the original fight with Darth Maul, which I think many people would note is one of the better lightsaber fights in the prequel series. Where if you were to take the blows that the actors were throwing at one another and you were to continue them, like don't have them be blocked, just continue the actual strike that they were throwing, and there's no lightsaber to block them, they wouldn't hit anybody. They weren't even swinging at each other. They were swinging at one another's swords, which is crazy. Great 27, thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Welcome to me bitching about Star Wars, something that unfortunately happens quite a lot around here. But I didn't like that. It was all style and no substance. And this isn't something that I expect a lot of people to notice. Not because they're stupid, not because they're bad at liking movies, not because their taste is bad, but because for most people, how do I sword fight is not a question that they ever really give a shit about answering, and why should you?
There's something about Kenobi and Catgirls that give me that warm, fuzzy feeling. Or maybe it's just my allergies.
It's just your allergies, Chaotic. Just your allergies. But, again, why should people give a shit about how to actually sword fight? It's not something that you have to do. This is entirely for the sake of entertainment. And you're watching space wizards with laser swords try to kill one another. It should be as entertaining as possible. But I, on a personal level, have a strong interest in historical sword fighting, and so the complete lack of any attention paid to the choreography in that sense did bother me quite a lot. I enjoy well-choreographed fight scenes as an art form. I think that you can tell a lot of a story in how you choreograph a fight scene, and to their credit, they actually did that a lot in that first fight with Darth Maul. Ray Park is an amazing physical actor. So, to bring this around to the Force compliment to the sequel trilogy, I keep going out of focus today. I'm sorry about that, you guys. To bring that around, the sword fights... Yeah, okay, Shock 21, but attacking the enemy's weapon as a way of disarming them involves usually, striking for their hands or trying to leverage the weapon out of their grasp, not hitting them in the strongest point of leverage that they have, which is mostly what they were doing in those movies. And in those movies, had they not blocked the blows would have hit nothing at all. So that's not good sword fighting. They were dancing. And I've heard people argue that that was the point, and I just don't buy it. But, the fight between Rey and Kylo Ren at the end of The Force Awakens is great. It's great. Okay, I might be overstating that. Maybe it's not great, but what it is very watchable. And the blows make sense. There's a bit of a flow, there's a story to it in the way that people move, in the sort of careless aggression that Kylo Ren brings to his fighting style as compared to the very conservative defensive fighting style that Rey is using for the first portion of it, or the sort of untrained, devil-may-care, desperate fighting style that Finn uses. Because he doesn't know what he's doing at all. He doesn't have the Force, but he knows that he has to fight to protect the people that he loves, and he throws himself into it. And he gets toyed with, ultimately, because he doesn't stand a chance. But again, there's a story being told there in the way that the actors are moving. They did a good job with that. I was not as big of a fan of the lightsaber fight in The Last Jedi. That's one of those where it's like, yeah, if you look around them, it's like the bad guys are taking extra time to spin their blades and do little flips just so that they don't have to kill the good guys. And I'm like, yeah, that's weak-ass choreography. That's no good. But overall, the lightsaber fights were improved. So there you go, Firestarter. There's my Force compliment. I liked the lightsaber fights in the sequel movies, even if most of the rest of it was awful. There. You got me to compliment some movies that I hate. Do you feel good about yourself? It's more visceral. That's a good word for it. Dude, Sheza, the sword fighting in the Lord of the Rings movies was actually all pretty excellent. It was fantastical, of course, because it is a fantasy movie, but it was all pretty excellent. And there's definitely truth to that also, Sheza Gaming. There are certainly similarities between dancing and fighting. I think anybody who's ever been in any sort of a combat sport, even if they wouldn't necessarily say, you need to be a dancer to be a fighter, they would note that there are similarities between dancing and fighting. Fights have a rhythm to them, and you can overcome your opponent by learning their rhythm, by indulging their rhythm, and then by breaking their rhythm. But in order to achieve that, you need to be able to read their body language, their motion, in order to do so. And that is, in fact, very similar to dancing. But the other truth about it is that a good fighter, a real fight, is usually over in seconds, not minutes. Nobody's out there fighting with a sword for 30 minutes. The first time somebody makes a mistake, they're usually just dead. Phage for Nurgle with the follow. Thank you so much for that, man. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Welcome to me speaking authoritatively about things I don't really know that much about. The Witcher sword fights were really good. Yeah, I like those a lot. Again, those are ones where it's like, yeah, he does a lot of spins and stupid bullshit that no real fighter would do, but he's a crazy mutant with magical powers, so I'm like, yeah, sure, fine, that makes sense. It's fantastical. It's supposed to be. That's part of the appeal of it. Okay with the crossguard if the emitters are protected by Cartosis or Frick or Beskar. Are Frick and Cartosis a thing in Star Wars anymore, or are we just on to Beskar? And Seal 6 Operator, like, I tend to agree with the silliness of the crossguards, the laser quillins on the lightsaber, but that's one that I'm willing to chalk up to, it's fantasy. There's certain things they can get away with doing simply because they are ultimately representing space wizards with laser swords and magical powers. It doesn't have to be totally realistic. I do ask, though, that when they swing their blades at one another, they're trying to actually, like, their blows are actually blows that might land and hurt somebody. That would be nice. And they're not just going through the choreography. And for as much of like, I'll even go ahead and say that they did a fantastic job with the complex choreography, and I think Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor both did a fantastic job learning the choreography. That's not easy to do. What they did is very, very hard. But not everything in this world that's difficult is worth doing. In fact, very few things are. And it looks cool is not a great excuse for literally everything. It's a good excuse for some things. And I realize the irony of me saying that when I will turn around and defend movies like Pacific Rim. But Pacific Rim delivered a certain level of plausibility along with a very self-aware ridiculousness. The film clearly knew what it was doing when it broke the laws of physics repeatedly. But when I watch the Jedi fighting in the prequel movies, I don't get the feeling that George Lucas knows what real sword fighting looks like at all. I get the feeling that George Lucas thought, this looks cool, let's do it, and never gave another thought to it. Not one Seal 6 Operator coming through with that Tier 2 sub on a 4-month streak. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Seal 6 Operator. Correct, Alaric, correct. The first Pacific Rim did. The second Pacific... You know... It's really sad that we didn't get up as a second Pacific Rim movie. It's really, really sad that there was just one Pacific Rim movie and never, ever any sequels. That's a tragedy.
Elbow rocket! Now!
I wish that had come out after, like, COVID had hit and the theaters had stopped being a thing for me so that I would not have paid money and gone to a theater to see that piece of shit. Yeah, shame there wasn't another. I know. It's sort of like how we only got one Matrix movie, or how we only got 3 Indiana Jones movies. Like, sure is a shame they didn't make any more. Oh well. I'm working on Eomer at like a snail's pace over here, but this is kind of intricate work. We'll get it done. Hands are kind of shaky today, too. That's okay. And he's got some red down here I want to make sure that I get. Professional Swordsman put out a video that proved crossguards would serve a good I mean, they did. Crossguards have been used for... You know, this is something that I think is a misconception about sword play in general. First of all, swordsmanship has almost always been more on the art side of the phrase martial arts. Swords have never been common weapons. The very possession of a sword is already a bit of a message and indicates some things about the fighter. It indicates that you have a certain level of wealth in almost any society where they would have been a thing.
When watching Thunderhead stream, you may feel the urge to do the cha-cha.
Fair.
Because he likes to slide it to the left, and then slide it to the right, and then hold it off screen entirely. Come on, Thunderhead, put it back on camera.
Hang on, let me adjust my exposure here a little bit because it's acting a little funny. There we go, that's better. Yeah, I've been bad tonight. But swordsmanship, the possession and use of
Studio,
swords.
We specialize in turning your shame into more shame.
We do. I generally encourage people to buy more models than they need. Like I said, though, if you have a sword, if you use a sword, this is already an indication that you have a certain amount of money, that you have a certain amount of status, that you can afford to be trained in it. Because, and I think a number of you nerds out there probably recognize, like if I were to ask you, I'm just going to ask you, chat, and I'm going to get some answers tossed back my way. What is the most common, the most ubiquitous melee weapon in human history? What is it? Somebody knows. Throw it at me. Throughout all cultures, all times. It's the spear. It's the spear. Okay, we got a couple smartasses in here saying things like fist and club. There might be some argument for that, possibly. But the spear is the most common melee weapon throughout the history of warfare. Thank you, Riot Sister, for answering the penis. I really appreciate that. Sling doesn't count. That's not a melee weapon. I appreciate where your head's at, though, Marmundo. Slings are incredibly dangerous. The spear, though, is ultimately the answer. Spears they're found in every single culture. They're found at all times of history. And it's for a very simple reason. Spears are fucking easy. Spears are cheap. Spears are simple. I can go out in my yard right now and make a spear. It won't necessarily be like a great spear, but you don't need it to be great. You just need one end to be pointy and harder than human flesh. And that is not hard to do. And then if you want to learn to use a spear, can you get complicated with it? Can you engage in unit tactics? Yeah? Sure. Can you become fucking Oberyn Martell and learn how to spin it around and do crazy stuff? Sure, absolutely, you can. But you know what else you can do? You can take 10 fucking idiots from the local village who are probably going to die within 30 miles of the place that they were born with no teeth in their head, based on the time period that we're talking about. You can take those 10 idiots, you can hand them a spear, and you can go, you take that, and you stab those guys with it. You go over there and you stab them with it. And that group of 10 men is incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous. It's much more cost-effective than using a sword. Swords are niche weapons. Now that said, what I'm leading into here is that there is in fact a great deal of art to using swords, and they served a lot of purposes, and this was because I started talking about quillins, about crossguards and their uses. Quillins have served a number of purposes, from stopping blades from sliding down. That's the most popular and traditional, I suppose, when you look at it. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, that's going to stop a sword. Sure. They're also weapons in and of their own right. There's a popular European technique taught by a number of the old masters in their manuscripts known as half-swording, among a number of other techniques, where you would take a long sword and you would turn it upside down and you would hold on to the blade of it with your leather-gloved hand, and you'd hold on to it just below the crossguard with your other hand, and at that point the pommel of the blade, the heavy metal pommel, and the nasty pointy quillins would become essentially a club and an axe in one, as well as an instrument of leverage. Because a lot of fighting another man in full armor, which is a lot of what they did when they were wielding swords since they were noblemen, is essentially wrestling. And in wrestling, a nice piece of leverage goes a long way. But really, all of that bullshit that I just said was to lead into the notion that crossguards and quillins on swords have more uses than just the most obvious ones. And I managed to take a long time to say that. But it's true. And I think quite interesting. Now, of course, this is ignoring the fact that there have been many, many, many styles of sword, including many that don't have quillins of any appreciable sort. But I'm mostly talking about European longswords here. Japanese swordsmanship, for instance, is a completely different animal. But then Japanese swordsmanship is designed in a culture that had different access to materials, both in armor and weaponry. They had to cut through different things, and they had to do it using arguably inferior material. A lot of the armor they had to cut through was wood or fabric, though to be fair, a lot of the armor Europeans had to cut through was also fabric. Nanotanks is going to correct one thing. No, you're absolutely correct. Most spear troops would be trained, but the point really is that training spear troops is much, much simpler than training swordsmen. Much, much simpler. And a lot of spear training comes in the form of unit training. It comes in the form of how do you move along with the other 20 guys who also have spears. Oh, you're right, Roland. What I'm describing in the use of the club would actually involve holding the sword much further down on the blade. If you move your hand up towards the quill, and it goes from a club to a crowbar, effectively. And these are different techniques, you are correct. You sound like a knife nut. I'm a sword nut. I am a bit of a sword nut. I love swords. I think they're interesting. I think the true history of swords is vastly more entertaining than the fantastical version of sword history that became very popular when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, that was when we were buying katanas out of fucking Bud K and down at the, Swiss Mountain Knife Works, whatever the fuck it was called. Smoky Mountain Knife Works. At the mall, next to Electronics Boutique. And then the kid would come into school with his tabby boots and be like, this sword was folded 1,000 times by the Dragon Masters. Papa Phoenix, there's definitely some back and forth on there, but the steel available on the island of Japan, good steel? Good iron to make good steel was vastly isn't the right word, was less plentiful than it was in Europe. Your average smith simply did not have access to... it was fairly rare in Europe, because even making steel is incredibly difficult. I think that people overstate it. It's not fair to say that Japan didn't have good steel. They had good steel. They had less of it. And, I mean, it's also important to note that generally, when we get into this conversation, people start doing things like comparing medieval European knights with samurai. And I'm like, you realize that most of these warrior cultures existed hundreds of years removed from one another. Hundreds of years removed from one another. And it's not really fair to compare them right across the board. I think that's fair to say, Roland. Yeah, their use of steel, and maybe that is more fair. The Japanese use of steel compared to the European use of steel was very myopic. It got very laser focused early on, and then it didn't really change much. And their blades were much more devoted to slicing and cutting than a lot of European weaponry that moved in the direction of bashing, smashing, crushing, and leveraging. But then again, the armor that they were going up against was fundamentally different. You didn't see as much mail in Japan. You saw more wood-lacquered armor and lots of layered fabrics. Which, to be fair, throughout most of Europe, throughout most of history, you would have seen a lot of layered fabrics and not a lot of... Like, you'd see a lot of mail later on, the 14th, 15th century, so on and so forth. But even then, you'd see a whole lot of, like, linen gambesons. Alright, I'm going to switch out to another color to continue highlighting up my red here, because I've just been going around in circles. Just getting it to a point where I like the look of it. I think it's actually reading as red, at the very least, which is what I wanted it to do. A little bit more on this shoulder, just to make myself happy. I just don't want it to read as brown. Now, as I say all of these things, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I'm not a historian. I don't pretend to be a historian at all. I just have a passing interest in these things, and I'm absolutely certain that I am mistaken on a number of these elements. This is just my understanding from my reading, so if you ever feel the need to correct me, don't hesitate. I'm probably wrong about some things. I'll desaturate this red a little bit for some fine highlights. With a little bit of linen white. Guy with a gun beats a guy with a sword every time. Good, bad, I'm the guy with a gun. There's a reason that very quickly, after the mass production of the cannon, the phrase became, cannons win battles. 'Cause they do. Riot Sister wants to learn swordplay. You know what can be done? Historical European martial arts groups are more plentiful than you might think. And swordplay is a lot of fun. We also have a surprising number of really, really good original pieces of source material to draw from these days. There have been laser scans and translations of some really, really great manuscripts like The Rose of Battle, Fiore de Liberi, that would be more Italian. There have been a number of manuscripts translated from Old German. A lot of them have lots and lots of pictures, which is actually very helpful. What's funny is a lot of those old manuals... Yeah, the final argument of Kings. A lot of those old manuals are written intentionally obtusely, because when they were written, they were by masters who were trying to essentially sell their martial arts school to noblemen. And if you think about it, you don't want to put all your secrets in the advertisement, because then people won't come pay you money to learn it. So you wind up with funny things like codes that people have to translate, like slightly encrypted manuscripts. It's really very interesting. Well, now we just have nukes. Yeah, things have changed a little bit, but you know what, Kane? War. War never changes. Of course, that's bullshit. War changes all the time, but it's a good line from Ron Perlman, so we're gonna go with it. this is gonna work, I think. As long as I'm careful, this should work just fine. Mordhau Mondays. I could see that. I could see that. Arguably, it's easier to train a farmer to fire a musket than use a spear. Toy soldiery, I would see the argument for that being that in order to use a spear, you have to get close enough to your opponent that there is a good deal of, like, pants-shitting fear involved. And so it is easier to train someone to aim a weapon at an opponent who is at a distance and fire it than it is to train someone to run up to another man who also wants to kill them and then stab them in their guts. That makes sense. My camera brand, this camera up here that I'm using is a Panasonic Lumix G7. It is the stock lens. It is currently the stock lens. I need to investigate that a little bit further, get something maybe that has a slightly enhanced depth of field. I am a camera amateur at best. So I always think is funny when people represent war in movies where it's like, and then a bunch of spearmen charge into each other and bodies are flying everywhere. Historically, that doesn't actually ever seem to have been the case. As it turns out, human beings alive today are in many ways exactly the fucking same as human beings that were alive a few hundred, even a few thousand years ago. We are fundamentally the same thing. And as it turns out, convincing a man to run into certain death and be churned into little pieces of meat by a wall of stabbing metal that he never had any hope of actually doing anything about is quite difficult. And a much more realistic portrayal tends to be lines of men with spears standing a certain distance away from one another, trying to get the advantage long enough to get their weapons in to kill the other person without themselves dying in turn. It certainly makes for a more dramatic battle footage to have huge lines of men running into one another and dying by the tens, by the dozens, but it just doesn't seem to be very supportable by actual historical fact. This isn't to say it never happened. There are certainly reports from certain battles of some truly horrific circumstances. But again, if you just apply the logic of, would a man actually run into that no-win scenario where he's guaranteed to die, even if his superior was telling him to do it? Generally the answer is no, they would not do that, because that's insane. Altered Man Art, thank you so much for the reminder. Are you sure movies sometimes aren't accurate to reality? I know that that's a bold proposition. Most movies are clearly perfectly accurate. I'm pretty sure, though. I'm pretty sure movies are sometimes not accurate to reality. I know it's a bold contention that I'm making. Well put. Oops. That was dumb. Not painting very well tonight. I'm just kind of painting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a unique circumstance, White Wolf. And even then, there's a question of how accurate those reports were as opposed to how propagandized they were. There was a lot of propaganda coming out of World War II that we've only really been able to contextualize and debunk with the benefit of some distance historically. A lot of propaganda about the Nazi war machine and how incredibly dangerous all their shit was. It turned out to not be as true as people would have you believe. Like, the Wehrmacht were certainly dangerous, the Wehrmacht were certainly well-trained, it's always popular to talk about reports of like, oh, no, Sherman fired at a Panzer and the weapon flattened against the hull, and it's like, there aren't really any verifiable historical accounts of that happening. It makes for a good story, but the simple fact is that the Germans got their fucking asses kicked once we got boots on the ground. And that even if their tanks were that good, which they weren't, most of them were unreliable as shit, rushed through production, and incredibly dangerous to the operators, making them by definition not good tanks. Even if they were good tanks, they couldn't produce enough of them for them to matter. So it's hard to credit their war machine with too much. It's not to say they didn't have some very impressive achievements like the train system that they built across Europe, but ultimately they got their shit kicked, so how good could they have been? Exactly, Gear Falcon. Yeah, the Germans had a couple of really good tanks in World War II. They also had a lot of real garbage. But what's the phrase that I saw for, there's a certain kind of person who fetishizes, and I say this as a Germanophile. I love German culture, I love German history. I love German food, for that matter. But, I saw a phrase, it's like weeaboo, but it was veraboo. Yeah, being on a bunch of meth, that was an interesting one. All I'm saying is, before you get too impressed with the Nazi war machine, consider that by the end, they were taking the Nazi equivalent of Boy Scouts on bicycles and saying, go fight the Americans. That is not a picture of a winner right there. Yeah, their guns were excellent. Unfortunately, many of the tanks were not, that they attached them to. But that was part of what made the Nazi Party as popular as it was briefly in Germany, was their mastery of propaganda and their selling their own war machine as an indomitable one to not only their enemies, but to their own people. It was important that their people believe in the indomitability of their soldiers and in the superiority of their war machines, because their numbers simply never matched up. Because if you said, yeah, our tanks are okay and our soldiers are average, and then you looked at the numbers that they had to pitch at the rest of the world, you'd go, oh god, no, don't invade anybody, you're crazy. As it turns out, yeah, they were crazy, and that was a stupid fucking idea. It's like when I was younger, it was a popular sort of little-known fact about World War II to go, ooh, the Nazis almost won. The Nazis, they could have won. The Nazis could never have won. They could never have won. They never stood a goddamn chance. The fact that they even tried indicates how insane their leadership was. World War II history is fun, though, isn't it? Well, okay, Alaric, yeah, they could have won, but in that same sense, in theory, I could drop a box of popsicle sticks on the ground and they could land perfectly configured into a replica of the Sistine Chapel. It's not gonna fucking happen. Yeah. I've heard that one a lot too. If only... That's the thing, Alaric. I'll accept the argument. They could have won if their leadership hadn't been a combination of insane and stupid. You're right. But they were. And they didn't. You know? And then there's the question of, could they have held what they won? And historically speaking, when we look at conquest on that scale, the answer is, oh, fuck no. Like, no way. That's ridiculous. They couldn't have held that. They barely held what they had. They took a lot of territory real fast, and it looked impressive because they never had to hold it because they lost it all just as quickly. They were sort of spared the humiliation of losing their gains to insurrection. And even then they did in a few cases. Kane, I appreciate what you're saying. I take issue with the wording. Never got to use our nukes on them. I would counter that with, thank God we never had to use nukes against them. Every nuclear weapon that has ever been used in the history of mankind is in and of itself a massive tragedy. I'm not saying that there aren't arguments for their use. I'm not saying that historically speaking they didn't serve some very necessary purposes. I even accept the argument that their use saved lives, arguably. But holy shit, let's never ever look for an excuse to do that ever again. Cause whoa. Just fucking whoa. I think that's a good one for the entire world to take a look at and go, you know, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't do that, like, ever again. Bristles Flores, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the Storm Chasers, welcome to us musing about World War II like we have any fucking idea what we're talking about over here. You're not wrong, Alaric, you are not wrong. But here's the thing, I'm not comparing the two. War is tragedy. It's not that there are wars that are tragic. It's that the very act of engaging in war on any level is itself a tragedy. When men come to a point where war seems like the only option, no matter who wins, whether they be the good guy or the bad guy, from your perspective, that it happened at all is awful. Because ultimately what it means is young men dying for the arguments of old men. Sometimes young men dying for the arguments of middle-aged men. But the one thing that never changes is that young men die in massive numbers. Not even being fair, young people die in massive numbers, not just soldiers. Wars belong in books about space wizards and movies about heroes with magic powers. That's where war belongs. That and on my tabletop, because I'll be the first to admit, I love simulating it, as long as the people I'm simulating don't exist. That's one of the reasons I've never been able to get into historical battle games. I don't like it. I don't like simulating battles that really happened or even could have happened or are happening with real people. It makes me uncomfortable. Wait, what did I miss from Roland? If the U.S. had to have invaded Japan, my paternal grandfather would be hitting the beaches. Yeah, no, you're probably right, Roland. You are probably right. But the thing is that situations like that, and this is, of course, in no way to besmirch your family history, Roland, so please just, note that before anything else is said. It's still awful. There's nothing good came of that. The best we can say that came of it was a bunch of people who otherwise would have died didn't die, but the fact that they were in a position where they would have died is in and of itself already horrifically tragic. Just horrifically tragic. No, don't show off your death's head for flames. I don't get into historical battle games. They bother me. Walter's Workshop, it is this guy. It would be odd if it was some other guy on this stream. I'd be concerned. My dislike for historical war games comes down to a series of moments, really, but there's always one moment that stands out to me. And I'm in San Antonio, and I'm playing at my friendly local game shop, doing, what was I playing at the time? Rune Wars, Gates of Antares, something like that. And prior to this, I had loose interest in historical war games, the World War II based ones. I'd played a few of them. I enjoyed Bolt Action, playing as the French a few times. But I don't know, they just never really appealed to me. I couldn't put my finger on why. And so I'm sitting there at my friendly local game store, playing my fantasy battle game, having a good time, and I'm listening to the owner and a friend of his talk about a pseudo-historical is being generous because it was about modern forces. And they're talking about the armies that they're building and what they're going to play. And, it really kind of it bothers me a little bit even remembering this. This shouldn't be like a trigger warning for anybody. It's not that horrible. It just bothered me. That dude Henry, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Welcome to me recounting a moment that turned me against historical wargaming. And I don't want you to think that I'm saying all historical wargamers are monsters when I say this. I'm not. It's just that this kind of situation can arise when you're dealing with it. I don't remember the name of the game, but it was like, it's a modern game, so you play as, like, modern... No, not the Pro-Vite story, that happened years prior. That's a good story, though. They're talking about the forces that they're building, and the one guy is... the store owner is building an American Marine force. So he's building these, like, tactical operators, and they're really cool models and everything. And the other guy is really excited because he found some models online he could buy to paint as Somali child soldiers. Yeah. And that bothered the shit out of me. That really bothered the shit out of me so much. They were, in fact, talking about doing a scenario that recreated the events of Black Hawk Down, as well as some others, Roland, at the time, which is what led him into talking about this. And... yeah, you probably do, Rodan. I know that you know the guy. And here's the thing, too, Rodan. He's not a bad guy. I know that. I know this dude. But that just... I learned something about him that day that I didn't want to know, which is that he was capable of chuckling and laughing and having a grand old time while talking about that sort of thing. And it's not like this is a tragedy that occurred decades ago. It did. This isn't a tragedy that occurred hundreds of years ago. I'm sure it occurred then too, but it is a tragedy that is occurring right now, today. And... I did not like that. I did not like that at all. He was chuckling while talking about how one of them had a pose where he was holding his weapon above his head. Like, oh, them raggers don't know how to fire the weapon. I was like, what the fuck is just, what are we doing? How desensitized are we that this seems okay? So I don't want to harp on it because it is a depressing story, but I will say that is a major moment for me when I realized that I wanted nothing to do with that type of gaming. And again, this is not to say that everybody who plays historical wargaming is that kind of dude. It's just that historical wargaming can lead you into situations like that I don't want to play as real people in my wargames. I want to play as fake people in my war games. I want to play as necromancers who raise skeletons. I want to play as, here we go, as heroes in an age of magic and strife, fighting against a dark lord who seeks to impose merciless order on a world of light and music and love. And we can say that these things relate to the real world, and they do. Certainly in the case of Tolkien, they absolutely do. But you know what? I'm not even opposed to Nazi. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine with Weird War II stuff, Roland. Nazi necromancers, Nazi werewolves. Yeah, I'm into that. Nazi UFOs? Hell yeah, have fun with it. The Nazis are basically sci-fi villains as it is. But real Nazi stuff makes me uncomfortable. What a note to come into the stream on. Crocodile, thank you so much for the raid, my friend. How are you doing? Crocodile. One of the most relaxing streamers to watch. My god, such an upbeat, chill dude. He's got that real ASMR thing going on his stream. How you doing today, Crocodile? You have a good stream? Welcome, Raiders. Welcome to Thunderhead Studio. We are working right now on Eomer from Games Workshop's Middle-earth strategy battle game line. For those of you familiar with Lord of the Rings, this would be Carl Urban's character, the nephew of King Theoden of Rohan. And generally most badass dude in almost every single film series that he's in. And come on, he's Judge Dredd. He's Judge Dredd. What's up, Crocodile? Toy Soldiery, thank you so much for that follow, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers. Yeah, exactly, Roland. Like, that, and, you know, I've had too many experiences playing historical war games like Bolt Action with people who had Nazi armies, who, it's like, as soon as you give them a little bit of an excuse, they start praising Nazis maybe just a little bit too much, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I get uncomfortable enough when I'm playing Star Wars and people are like, fuck yeah, the Empire's awesome. Oh, Palpatine did nothing wrong. Like, that's fucking stupid. But at least it's fictional. You know? That's something. Walter's Workshop, honestly, that's why I'm not buying a certain hobby company's stuff anymore. Yeah, that book was weird, dude. I missed that when it happened. I had to look it up, and it kinda blew my mind. Kinda blew my mind that anybody thought that was a good idea on literally any level. Yeah, I've been rambling about, I don't even know. This conversation got away from me, Crocodile. I had started to talk about why I don't do historical wargaming, and I recounted an incident where somebody did something that made me very, very uncomfortable. We're usually much lighter around here, to be fair. Oh, thank you, Sheza. Spectre, that was it. Yes, they were Spectre minis. Absolutely, Rodan. Dread 2 win. Why do you have to say that, Alaric? Why you gotta hurt me like that, man? We're not getting to Dread 2. If you're curious, Retio Santi, which I'm probably mispronouncing that, I'm just gonna guess that I am, you can always hit !STL to get a readout on what it is that I'm printing. I can show you, though. I make Battletech terrain. Lots and lots of terrain for Battletech. And that is the latest version with a couple of changes of this 6mm scale hex-compatible Battletech. This is for a set called Trinity City that I produce. And this is a sort of like a 1 to 2 level auditorium that you can add into your cityscape. It's got like some little loading docks and doors and utilities on the back and the top and everything, and this is all designed specifically for Battletech miniatures, of which I have. Let me pull up my half-painted Bushman that I have here. But you see, it's designed so that you can fit effectively inside the hexes and have your levels all be stable and well supported, so that you can fit in each of them and not have wobbly model syndrome, while still having a nice 3D board to play on. Hey, Majin! How you doing, my man? It's okay, Toaster. Like, I know very well that one man does not represent the entirety of a hobby community. Like, I get that. I have been in enough hobby communities to know people that I'm like, that guy doesn't represent me either. Please don't think that he does. But it definitely left a bad taste, you know? Left me feeling like, maybe I'll just skip this. Now, I'm gonna thin down some Vallejo smoke and do a quick wash over this, hoping to dull down my metallics. Where's my Vallejo smoke? There it is. Yeah, Battletech. Hell yeah. That's exactly it, Alaric. Like, that's what hit me when he said that. I was, Soda Addict. It's interesting you ask that. I have some of them here. They're a different scale. Cav miniatures are a different scale. It's also funny you ask that because CavCon is going to be coming up, I believe, at the end of March. And they have asked me to do something for the online CavCon. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. We might paint some Cav minis. I will be judging I'll be one of the judges for the painting contest that they're going to have for CavCon. They have invited me to do that, and I'm pretty excited about that. I have a number of their new dual cast items here. God, excuse me. That I need to actually put some paint on. I will say that their new material is absolutely lovely. I would also say that these buildings, all of these Trinity City buildings that I produce, have recently been licensed by Talon Games for production specifically in MDF and laser cut acrylic format in 10mm scale for Cav Strike Ops to be sold by Talon Games. You'll be able yeah, that's good streaming, right? I can talk so good with my words. You'll be able to get all these buildings in 10mm scale MDF for use with Cav Strike Ops soon. TM. Not sure how long that is going to take, but we recently finalized talks on that. Trinity City is coming to Cav. It's a nice model, JS Twitch. It really, really is. Got a Cav paint and stream. Dude, I have so many Cavs that I need to paint, honestly. Like, I've done a lot of them, crossbow roof, but I've got more I need to paint. I think for CavCon, yeah, we're probably going to be sitting here painting some Cavs. They are, yeah, Ion Raptor is spot on. They're a little big. Soda Tea Addict, they are tricky to put next. Do I have any good examples at hand? Let me see. It's a good size comparison. Let me grab one real quick, because I've got a couple of Cavs. Hang on. Somewhere. Fuck. I just moved them. I'll be right back. Okay. So let's take a look here real quick. And for comparison, I will use my Dugram. But in scale, the cockpits of these two models would be roughly the same. So, in order to be in scale with this Starhawk that I have here, this Shadowhawk, not chosen because of the name, I think of it as the Dugram, would be about twice the size that it is now. And the Starhawk would have to be about half the size. Because Cavs in general are smaller than battle mechs for the most part. Similar comparison here. The cockpit glass would be about the same surface area between these two. So you can see it would have to be about half the size that it is right now. Now, I've seen people use pieces of Cavs next to battle mechs and use pieces of Cavs to modify battle mechs effectively. But yeah, I did these a while ago. I need to do some more of my my Terran White Knights. I was really on a magnet kick at the time, as you can see. I love the Starhawk, by the way. This is my favorite design from Cav Strike Ops. The Starhawk, it's such a cool looking mech. It's got such a neat profile. I love the sort of aggressive sweep of the missile launchers it has up there. It's got a bit of that Mad Cat energy going on to it, you know? Got a bunch of bones Cavs as well as metal. So the new material, I don't know if you've used. The new material, their new dual cast material, is really nice. And it's my understanding that they are moving almost exclusively to production. Yeah, they're making... yeah, I'm totally waiting on that one. The 28mm Starhawk, like, I am all over that. I'm going to pick one of those up and paint it. I keep telling myself I need to get one of their 28mm scale Dictators, because the Dictator is a great design. Really, really is. Are they doing it in 32? It's big. It's in a big scale White Wolf. That's the point. Now I have to say magnets 3 times before we summon Cybern Knight. Gotta get my Stompies and Vrooms and Crunchies out of storage and start painting Toy Soldiery. Fuck yeah, man. Get on it. You know what? You know what, Toy Soldiery? If you bust some mechs, some calves, some tanks, what have you, out of storage. Is my face out of focus? Did my camera... What are you doing, C920? Okay, there, that's better. If you break some of those out of storage and you put some paint down on them, I'd love to see them. I'd love to see any work that you've already done or that you get up to in the near future. So if you do that, please come back. Please go to the Storm Report channel on Discord and please post some pictures so one of these streams we can take a look at your work, man. I love seeing painted mechs. Oh. I actually did have one to hand, I just didn't realize it when I looked over at it. This is the Terran Simba from Cav Strike Ops. I actually really like this design. It's basically an AT-AT walker from Star Wars with the same purpose, like it has these big bays in the side. God, their detail has gotten so much more crisp. This is maybe the worst their detail ever got, was on this soft PVC. You can see how flexible the legs are here, but I mean, it's gotten like... I mean, compare that to the detail they have on this new tank. It's so much more crisp, the lines are so much sharper, so much more detailed, and I mean, we've been over this. This material is durable as all hell. Remember who you are. I can't do it, James Earl Jones. Don't even try to get me to do that, Walter's Workshop. I mean, it's incredibly detailed, it's flexible, but I mean, like, I don't... Is it gonna break this time? Last time we did this, we got it all the way around and it didn't break, and like... See how this barrel is slightly curved upward? Not even that much, like it's barely curved upward. Well, that's because I did this. And then just kind of bend it back into place a little bit, and honestly, it stays pretty well. A little bit of a curve. I know, Gun Mage, I know. We were so nervous about doing this the first time. I thought it was gonna break. Now, it's worth noting, Toy Soldiery, the detail and the firmness on these is many, many times greater than it has been on their PVC in the past. It may be difficult to see because of my lighting here, but the depth and the sharpness of the details and the general lack of mold lines, as well as how easy this material is to drill into, honestly, like, I don't get behind new plastic. Like, I've seen a lot of companies come out with, we got a new plastic, and it's bullshit 90% of the time. Like, they're just reinventing the fucking wheel. As far as a material that Talon Games is able to actually cast in-house with, this is a huge improvement. A huge improvement in their overall line, and I have been assured that this doesn't increase the cost of their models at all. They're still looking at like $5 to $6 per figure. $6 for like 2 tanks. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anybody got time to take a look at the building I posted in work in progress on the Discord? Need ideas for what to do with the iris? Thinking green or gold? Gunmage, you can always pop it over into the Storm Report, which we're going to be starting momentarily, and I'd be happy to take a look at it right here on stream. Failing that, I'll definitely glance into the Discord after the fact. Here's the Cobra, also in Dualcast. I mean, like, it's hard for me to get across how fine the detail in this mesh here is. Like, it's almost so fine you can't even see it. But there's a mesh, a grill in here that'll be more obvious when I actually put some paint on it. And the details are so crisp. And if you've used Cav models before, you know they have not always been this way. They really haven't. But I'm very, very excited for this new material and for the new Cavs that they're going to be doing over the course of this new year as they move to producing everything in-house. And it is surprisingly durable. I thought when we did this the first time, it was on stream, I was telling people, like, any second now it's going to break, any second. It just didn't. This shit is a remarkable combination of durable and high fidelity. I like it much better. Much, much, much better. If I haven't gushed about it enough already. let's go ahead and get to the part that everybody really wants to see. Let's take a look at what y'all have been working on in the Storm Report.
Alright, locusts and gentle mechs, get ready to feast your eyes on glowed paint and wet palettes with the occasional culinary atrocity thrown in on tonight's Storm Report, brought to you by viewers like you.
Woo! Well, there we go. Ooh, up first we got something from Gear Falcon. That's always exciting. You do fucking cool work, man. Made another ring trying some new opal. Oh, hang on real quick. I just want to make sure that I got... It's not half bad. I'm probably going to work on Eomer a little bit more tonight. We got a late start today. Not as much work done today, but we were doing a lot of stuff with the Cyberpunk Red RPG earlier. Oh, new opal. Damn, that's pretty cool. What is this like, are you taking the opal and embedding it in like an epoxy medium and then carving it out, and that's why we have these little flecks and chunks? I can't imagine that this is like an inclusion. That's really, really cool, though. Super glue. No shit. Here I was making it way more complex than it needs to be. But does it glow? That's a good question, White Wolf. How's it going, Crocodile? It's going pretty damn fantastic. I really appreciate the raid, dude. I really do. I just love... I love knowing that streamers out there that I admire, that I think are really cool, are getting done with their streams and they're like, that Thunderhead guy, we could raid him. He seems legit. It's so validating to me, man. We got raided by you today. We got raided earlier by fucking Studio J7 with something like 70 people. Like, I'm utterly flattered with the raids today. Opal, obsidian, pigment, and superglue. I would not have guessed. I would not have guessed superglue, given how nice that looks, Gear. I didn't realize you could refine superglue that much to such a nice luster after it had set. Does it... If you got it really, really cold, would it come apart? I know that superglue becomes really, really brittle when it's cold. Has that been a problem at all? I would just think you'd use something more durable, but again, I don't know how much about the process. That was a bad sentence. I don't know how much about the process. I don't know much about the process. That's a much better sentence. Much, much better. It is gorgeous. Really nice work here, Falcon. Let's come down and see what we have up next. Rogue 19K sharing with us today. It looks like MechWarrior Dark Age Infantry no longer scales well. 2 bases of elementals from MechWarrior Dark Age and a base of elementals from CGL's Clan Invasion. They're teeny. They're teeny little guys. I do like... Okay, I know that a lot of people bitched about them changing the scale in Battletech. I even bitched about it for about 5 minutes before I had a moment of self-awareness and I took a step back and I realized that Battletech has never had a scale. It's always been kind of like, whatever the designer feels like for this particular mech. And then when MechWarrior Dark Age happened, they bumped the scale up a couple of notches and everything got much, much larger. They're only now starting to actually standardize the scale into essentially anything. And it does result in infantry and these little guys just being itty-bitty little toads. Look at them, they're so small with their little SRMs. Aren't they adorable? I don't have any of these Clan Invasion elementals in hand myself yet to paint. I can't say how difficult the details are to get, but they look tricky. Real tricky. Vergata Rung, how you doing, man? Good to have you. Busy at work. Ooh, that's never any good. I mean, sometimes it's good, but generally I don't like it. So, you know, what are you gonna do? They're nice, yeah, but tiny. There's definitely something to be said for figure modelers using... I like what they do in... And Alaric, you play Star Wars Armada. That reminded me of something. Alaric, do you have any interest in special edition ship cards for Star Wars Armada? Because I have a bunch of Imperial Star Destroyer cards from the Massing at Sullust event. I realized the other day, and I'm like, I'm not going to do anything with them. I thought you might like them. I also have some of the limited edition ship cards from when the Raider first came out. You into it? Alright, I'll hit you up on Discord, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, but the sliding scale that they use for FFG Star Wars games is really, really nice. The things, like, everything winds up. Okay, the large things wind up a little smaller than they should be. The small things wind up a little bigger than they should be. But everything kind of matches up. You know? And, these guys are real small. They could have standed to be a little bit larger. Holy moly, how the times have changed. Yeah, and Vergaderung makes a good point. The MechWarrior Dark Age everything was always scaled up, even from the very shaky scale of most Battletech stuff. But I think that might be better. I don't know. I haven't tried to paint these guys, like I said. Thank you for sharing that with us today, Rogue19K. Coming down here, we have from Squared. If I get another mislinks, I'm going to see about reposing it. The default pose is a pain to paint. Alright, chat. This is the mislinks? Right? Right, guys? This is the mislinks? Somebody help me out? Clan Mechs? Whew, I got it right. Okay, sweet! I know Vergaderung. Clan Mechs. Who the hell knows what the fuck they're called most of the time? I'm digging this very subtle tiger stripe camo pattern you've got going on here. Your work on dry brushing and the deep panel line shading is definitely coming along, Squared. And I love the use of the red on the arm and then on the cockpit. That's a nice little repetition there. And you've got a nice kind of gradient going on here. Even on this, I don't know, this piece of plastic is minuscule. It's so small. But you managed to get a pretty decent fade on there. That looks nice. Salvage 1, salvage 2. That's all. That is all you need to know. See about reposing at the default pose. I guess I could see that. You wind up with a lot of these spaces like right here, top of the leg, under the arm, where it's all just kind of boxed in, and reaching in there is a pain to get at. Hooked on the stripes. Well, I'll tell you what, to Squared, keep practicing it, man. Because just between the few that I've seen you do here recently, you're already showing improvement. Your deep panel line shading is certainly improving. I can tell more of the details on this mech. I would say that for your basing, consider, like, I know that this is just that texture paint that they do. It is helpful to me. I tend to paint miniatures and their bases separately and then glue the miniature down to the base. If you're not doing that, though, scraping a little bit of this off can help just to separate the texture from the mech. And another thing I like to do with these texture paints is throw a wash over them after the texture has set. Because what that can do is it'll deepen, because like I can see there's these little cracks, these little Badlands style cracks in here. But if you put a wash on it and it's sunk down into those cracks, first of all, it would help it be more durable. It would create a little bit of an acrylic coat over the top to hold the bits together. And it would also help to accentuate these sort of Badlands details that come up from the crackle paint. Like if you did a little bit more over here, a little bit of a wash to deepen the details here, add just a little bit of color variation, it really just helps to sell the texture a little bit more. Yeah, give it a try. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your work with us today, Squared. It is definitely coming along. I like how vibrant that red is. Management made arbitrary decisions about what size things should be based on bids from their producers, not based on the sculpt of the mech. Or the mech it represented, yeah. And I mean, scale in Battletech has always been pretty much nonsense, even at its best. It always comes down to the argument of density versus volume, and then people start trying to do just idiotic crap like calculating the density of Eomer, a material that doesn't fucking exist. That argument always bothers me, because I'm always the spoil sport. I'm always the guy who comes in and is like, look, if we're talking about what makes sense physically with mechs, let's stop having this conversation, because nothing about mechs makes any fucking sense. On any level. We would never build mechs. Mechs would never work. On a certain level, you just have to shut up and accept that they're fun. Got most of your ender problems sorted. I'm having ender problems with my V2 right now. I am getting under extrusion problems that I cannot track down to their source, and it is bothering the shit out of me. You could be the one to shut up. But they wouldn't, Cosmic Disorder. They would never work. There are so many physical problems with them. And that's before we get to the consideration of why would we put these weapon systems on two big legs in the first place? It doesn't actually give them any benefit. The rock spring was crushing the filament into an oval, so it didn't want to go through the tube. Huh. Damn. That's strong, huh? Not Eomer in the sense that they use it in Battletech, and certainly not Nero helmets. But this is a conversation for another time, like next stream. Heavy gear is what will actually come to be. I don't have a problem buying that. I like the gears in heavy gear. Plus, they have wheels on their feet, which makes a lot more sense to me than just walking everywhere. Here we have from White Wolf. Sure, why not? I'll post it here. First attempt at something resembling ramen, even if it's just instant noodles. Sapporo Ichiban original hard-boiled egg, 3 strips of bacon, green onion, and cabbage. The Americana special. You know what? That looks pretty solid, really. It's like the White House dinners. For those of you who subscribe to that subreddit, like the White House dinners version of ramen. But you know, part of the appeal is that so many ramens are instant. I would eat that. I would lay right into that like crazy. I'm glad that this is towards the end of the stream, because as always I'm getting hungry. Ty Love 06, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the Storm Chasers. Excuse me, that is clearly a medium boiled egg. That's fair. Gears are basically one-man IFVs regular. Yeah, I mean, they run on, like, combustion engines, for God's sake. Like, heavy gears don't involve any technologies that don't exist. They just, well, okay, a few. But they mostly involve just a willingness to be like, it'd be super sweet if I had 2 big legs to run around on. I eat, like, okay, I don't want to eat snacks while I'm streaming, though, White Wolf. Like, I've done that on stream. It makes me profoundly uncomfortable every time I do it. And I say this knowing that there are streams that are, like, nothing but people eating things. But I am not a slender Asian woman, and I don't think that I can get away with selling that as content. So, you know, what are you going to do? Oh, what do we got from Gear Falcon? Made another ring. This one is ceramic with pearl opal with purple. And black pigment, but it came out white and black. Not too fond of how it came out, but let me know what y'all think. It's actually pretty neat. The pattern makes me think kind of like Digicamo, but then you have that opalescent sheen to it. It does look a little bit rougher than the other one, but then this one may not be as finished. As long as it isn't overly crunchy and you don't talk with your mouth full. But what am I going to do? I'm just going to, like, stare at the camera and eat my food in silence? You people want to watch that? I don't think anybody wants to watch that. That's no good. Pull a Walter's Workshop. Take a 3 to 5 minute break for beer and a snack. Walter, he just, Walter has that charisma, though. Walter has that charisma. He has that indefinable quality. He has that X factor. He has that what a French call a certain, I don't know what, And a better beard. God damn it, White Wolf, get out. Does not have a better beard. Look, I can diss myself over Walter, okay? That's my privilege. I've earned that. Paint while you chew. That's not a bad idea. Well, I don't know. It has problems. There are problems, Riot Sister. Thunder Lunch Thursday. Need new glasses and headphones. Yeah, Soda Addict. I don't know what you think you've been watching, but apparently it's not that. Start a poll. I, for one, would love to. No, God, no, we're not. No Thunder Munch. No Thunder Crunch. No Thunder Munch. No Thunder Lunch. No Thunder Brunch. No. We're not doing this. It'd be funny to have that on camera because I run around my apartment shoving snacks in my gullet like a rat. See, I would watch that. But then I am easily amused. I think it's a pretty cool looking ring, Gear Falcon. I actually think it looks really nice. Yeah, I like the first one better, but I think the second one looks pretty hot. Here we have from Ion Raptor, the HBS mod teams needed a Phoenix Hawk Lamb Mark 1 in mech mode, ASAP, so I cranked this guy out in about 4 hours total work time. Make me look like an asshole, why don't you? It's not my best work by any means, but I don't loathe it. You know, not loathing it is an important step on the road to acceptance. Now I can go back to my Fafnir 2. Just kidding, in between the time I posted this and the stream, I finished the Fafnir 2. Of course you did. What I mean to say is, on to the variants in Project Dark Fox's Tarantula. Now that, I am excited to see. Wow, how does it transform? This is, ooh. You know, got that real Starscream energy going on.
You're gonna get stuffed in a box.
Oh, too late. It's the thing now. You can take me to lunch, Rat Sister. I'm down with that. Gonna try to keep things going while I scramble around and not on stream. This actually works out pretty well, Iron. Now, did you work out how it transforms, or were you just kind of throwing stuff together and being like, whatever. It doesn't actually need to turn into a jet. Because I can see how some of the parts might lock together. I can see how the legs are constructed so that this might rotate up. But I wouldn't see where the legs would go after that. Doesn't transform. They've got the other models. Now, to your credit, Ion Raptor Designs, none of the designs anybody has ever come up with for a lamb, even the Veritex and Robotech, actually made any sense, because the whole concept of a lamb is crazy nonsense. But I'll tell you, for 4 hours of work, that ain't half bad. That's really pretty nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today, Ion Raptor. Ion Raptor, by the way, if you're not following, and you like Battletech in any way, shape, or form, you should really give that man a follow. He does so much cool work over on his channel. What is this? Oh, God. Oh, no. What? Did Cyber Knight get to you? Chaotic Harmony? He's magnetizing a Predator tank. This is this is dangerous. Down that way madness lay. Metalcore Collectibles comes in. See? You fucking see what happened, guys. I told you if I said the word 3 times... If I said the word 3 times, he would show up. That was the 3rd time, and here he is. Prove me wrong. This is the summoning ritual. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Technically, I've been here the whole time, but you didn't make yourself known until the summoning was complete. Perhaps he was restrained by some metaphysical force. Perhaps. Perhaps. And now you've spread this madness to Chaotic Harmony. He was pure. He was young. He was impressionable. He was supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. To bring balance to the model, not leave it in darkness. No, we're not gonna dwell on this. We're not gonna dwell on this, Chaotic Harmony. We're not gonna do it. I don't wanna. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in you, Chaotic. Joining the dark side. Here we have from Alaric Kerensky, an Eevee I am making for my brother-in-law for him to give away for Secret Santa. LOL. Still need to color correct my mistakes around the eyes and do some touch-ups. Ooh, Alaric, I don't see you painting much, man. But it's exciting to see you laying some down, particularly on everybody's favorite Pokemon. Who doesn't like Eevee? I mean, really, come on. It may not be your favorite, but who's like, Eevee sucks? Everybody thinks Eevee is at least okay. Really nice work. Nice, smooth paint application. I like the simple and effective job on the eyes. Really, really nice, Alaric. How often do you paint, Alaric Kerensky? I don't see enough out of you. I want more. I want more Alaric painting. The almighty Woosher has graced us with his presence. Yea. Yea, and did Chaotic Harmony speak his wisdom unto the masses? He did open his mouth, and forth did the words pour as he said, "Lol, missiles go whoosh," and they did crucify him. They screamed to the heavens, "This is a toxic gameplay experience." and the lords of Rome did crash down upon him, threatening to ban him from their servers. For he spoke the truth, and they did not want to listen. How's that going, by the way? Chaotic, are you banned yet? You've been playing pretty wholesomely lately. Crucified by the community, I am Lerm Jesus. Behold, he is risen. He has whooshed. This is stupid. I'm not even gonna read that right, sister, because I don't believe you. I don't believe you. First time painting in a year, COVID canceling half a dozen tournaments, killed my inspiration, Alaric. I am so sorry to hear that, but I am glad to see you putting paint down on some plastic. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. That's I used to do that when I was in SCA. That was like a stupid bit that I used to do. I would walk around behind my buddy in his like 14th century crusader outfit, and I would just narrate everything he was doing. And yea did he approacheth the tents of the Hospitaller, and he requested from them 5 pickles, and did they deliver unto him 5? No, but 2 pickles. And then he drank from the Gatorade, and it was good. It's not as funny in retrospect as it seems like it was at the time. I also don't think I'm doing the voice right, because I haven't done it in a while. Yea, and his thirst was slaked. And he did say unto them, thank you for your beverages. Whereas Iberben, well, thank God he's not here, because this is so far from anything like my best work. Oh my God. Oh, print failures. Wait, what happened here? Okay, let me read this. After I printed out some River Comm Center buildings, I immediately thought they could use some more dishes, so I hacked apart them. Oh, they're not print failures. Just printing out dishes. Okay. I hadn't thought of separating them for putting on more things, but I do like these dishes. These ones I was particularly happy with, just because when they're put together, you can actually balance a model on top of them. Not that it makes any sense for a mech to stand on top of a radar dish, but you can, is the point. I refuse to rob you of play space just because I want to have something silly. I like the round one. This was one of the first things that I made. This was really like one of the progenitors of the whole concept of the Hextech terrain system. I mean, to be fair, Kursala, I already do have them separated, just not saved as STL files. Every single thing in Hextech I have separated because I have the original Fusion 360 file with all the original objects in it. I can't wait to see what you actually do with it. Oh, they're not failures, they're just ugly. I didn't say that. I didn't say that, Chaotic Harmony. God. So rude. So rude. Kursala, you should know by now that I never know when someone's joking. I have no sense of humor to speak of. Really. Ooh, here we have from Rodan. Wait, who am I looking at here? First model of the year. You got Psycho Pirate done. I like how the Flash's costume is lying on the ground there, too. Ooh, nice red highlights. This is more from Night models, isn't it? They do really, really good posing. I like the gold, too. The fact that you got white eyes to stand out against a mostly yellow and gold mask is actually pretty damn impressive. Words coming very hard today. For some reason. And as always, I really like this sort of faint glow that you do to the brickwork. Looks like he's trying to take a crap. I wasn't gonna say that, Rodan. You could have just accepted the compliment. And everyone would have thought, it looks like he's got to pee, like real bad. It looks he's doing the 2-step, back and forth, you know? Like he's waiting on that whiz quiz. First model of the year, and it's a damn good one, Rodan. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think I saw that over on your Instagram, didn't you? You just did something else, too. You just got another Batman figure done. I can't remember which one it was. I wonder if it's further on in the Storm Report. Let's find out. Here we have from Machine God. She's being such a cuddle bug. And here for the last 2 hours, making it hard to work. They do that. They got their own little gravity generators built in. And once they snuggle up, I never want to be the sick son of a bitch that has to ruin their pure nap time. You know, down below, excellent. Glad to hear that. Oh no. You just want to give them little scritchums under the chin choppers right there, you know, a little behind the ear. Right there, that's a good spot. They always like that spot. Adorable. My God. Here we have from Nanotanks. Lost a little of the mini painting mojo, so I've been doing something slightly different. Decided to build and paint a couple of scale vehicles. The subject at hand is a Renault Alpine, which I pronounce strangely, which is a 1970s rally car, hence the numbers and advertising on the body, which are decals. You work at some very, very small scales, Nanotanks. Very small indeed. But even I, looking at this, would have been like, those are decals. Like, I've seen Nanotanks paint some tiny things, but that would be crazy. That is a lovely blue, though. Absolutely lovely. Hell yeah, it's nice to see a little diversity in here. We got real focused on BattleTech towards the beginning of the stream. And we get a lot of Warhammer, you know, get a little bit of Marvel here and there. Rodan is always bringing in the interesting paint jobs from the DC stuff. But I'm glad lately to see some more tanks and cars. There's a whole world of modeling out there that we don't touch. We really don't. What's Warhammer? I don't know. I don't know. I play a game called Rogue Trader, Walter's Workshop. Have you heard of it? Their name is Nanotanks. Yeah, I guess it's right there in the name, isn't it? Yeah, I hope that she's feeling okay, Machine God. I hope that that's not indicative of any sort of health problems, before my little guy. Hang on. Well, before the latest of the losses, my little kitty cat became very clingy and nappy, and I didn't think much of it at first, but as it went on, it became clear that that was indicative of a problem. I don't want to talk about that, though. Why am I talking about it? Downslide, 11 months. Sorry I'm late. Downslide, you can't... No, a downslide is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. Server issue edging up on a year. Yeah. We're right about at it. We have a couple people who renewed for 12 months, which kind of blows my damn mind. You're not late, though, Downslide. I'm just happy to have you here at all, man. If you really want to see what happened earlier in the stream, you've always got the VOD. But it's always great to see you in chat. Coming down. Quick 20-second video. I'll take a look at that in a little bit, Machine God. I'm not really set up to play it through Discord, unfortunately, but let's see what we got. Wrapped up this Ares Games and Miniatures exclusive Griffin Heavy Mech. Converted it into Inner Sphere tech so I can run it with my Wolverines, and tweaked an unofficial scheme I found online to include a black gold shift on the limbs instead of just black. The unloadout is 2 enhanced PPC, Wolverine Clan Tech that the CER PPC was developed from. Okay. And a small laser, which is close to the stock loadout of 2 HAG 20s and an ER small laser. Colors used were AP matte black for the limbs, dry brushed with Turbo Dork, all that glitters. I've heard so much about Turbo Dork, I really need to grab some. Layered with a thin coat of GW Basilicanum Gray contrast paint to aid in that color shift effect. That's actually a good use for it. I hadn't thought of that. The torso is GW Xandri Dust, dry brushed with AP Mummy Robes. Washed with GW Seraphim Sepia, highlighted with AP Skeleton Bone. Quite the range. All the Greeblies are Reaper Gunmetal, and all the servos, barrels, and detail bits are GW Iron Warriors. All the metallics are washed with 50/50 GW Nuln Oil and AP Dark Tone. I do love Dark Tone. Base is painted a mix of 75 to 25 AP Crusted Sword. God! The names of these paints sometimes. Come on, Army Painter. That is... Ugh. I hate that. An AP Fur Brown, which achieved a color match to the GW Iron Crust texture paste that I used. Base of the crystal protrusions are also in the same mixed color, but the crystals themselves are prime black and painted in Turbo Dork Twin Suns color shift paint. The base is then washed in GW Reikland Flesh Shade to help accentuate the cracks in the soil. So yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about, is giving a little wash to help accentuate those details that you've already got. I am digging this, though. That is a nice kind of tan yellow drab that you've got going on for the torso. Yeah, gunmetal bits. By the way, guys, if you're not following Machine God and you like BattleTech and seeing mechs painted, that's a channel you need to follow. Also, he plays Mass Effect, or at least has been recently. Yeah. Are you gonna roll right on into Mass Effect 3 next time, Machine God? Did we get a shout out yet for Machine God? Can we get another one? Let's do 2. Why the hell not? GW contrast paints. Absolutely fantastic, just not in the way they're advertised. You know, I find it's generally true, Soda Addict. Like, when you get started painting, it pays to pay attention to what the maker is advertising that their paint is for. Because they tend to be like, well, this paint has a purpose. It's a layer, it's a shade, it's a this, it's a that. It's an Alaric Kerensky going to bed. Alaric, you have a good night, man. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to see you in chat. I am glad that you shared that Eevee with us today. I think that's going to be a fucking badass Secret Santa gift. I want to see you paint more stuff, man. I want to see you paint more stuff. You can't just be flying starfighters and slapping the shit out of poor scrubs like me online all the time. Sometimes, you gotta sit down and paint a mini. Seriously though, man, thank you for sharing with us today. Alaric Kerensky, could we get a shout out before he goes? Could we get a shout out for Alaric Kerensky? This dude, this fucking guy. You know, okay, you guys, you know that time that you thought to yourself, I'm gonna play like World of Tanks or something. I'm gonna play War Thunder real quick. This game seems like fun. Everyone thinks it's fun. And you logged into the game, you know, and you're like, oh, I'm in my tank. I'm having a good time. I'm gonna drive up on this hill. And then some asshole from kilometers away one-shots you in the most delicate part of your machinery and just annihilates your tank, kills your entire crew. And then you sit there waiting for the fucking game to end. And it gets to the end, and this dude's got like 30 confirmed kills. He's like 30-1, and everybody else on his team is like no higher than 10. You know that guy? That fucking guy? That's Alaric Kerensky. Go give him a follow and watch what it's like from the other end of that particular ass beating. God, Alaric, you make me sick. Nicely done, Machine God, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm going to take a look at the video after this, and y'all can go ahead and click on that if you want. I want to see the color shift effects. This is the one I was thinking of, Gentleman Ghost. I didn't realize they had a model for Gentleman Ghost, Rodan. This is cool. I like Gentleman Ghost, and that is a lovely, vibrant blue that you got on there. What color is this in particular? Very, very curious. Does he not have... Because I know that he like doesn't have a head. He's just like a floating hat and monocle. And I can't quite tell if there's just a blank space there from this angle. Yeah, this is a fucking great model. Gentleman Ghost is just a nonsense DC character. I like the candles down here and everything else. Yeah, it's a blank space. That's pretty cool. Yeah. The basing on him, too. This little stairway that he's standing on, holding out his cane. This is a really, really cool figure, and that is a lovely blue. I'd be curious what blues you used, Rodan, because like I said, it's both pale and fairly vibrant. Held up by the hand. That's what I thought, is he's holding the edge of his hat, so there's nothing where his head would be. Very nicely done. Yeah, bullshit, Alaric. Bullshit. The fact that you're like, oh, I only did that one time. That you've done it at all. That you've done it at all is the problem, isn't it? I am never gonna forgive you. I am never going to forgive you for our most recent game of Titanfall. That was, while being mostly my fault. Fuck you. Still, damn it. This dude was hitting me with anti-Titan missile salvos when I was a pilot inside a building away from the door. I'm like, I'm safe from Titans, and he's like, nope, cloud of missiles. Oh, that was terrible. I'd run out a door, and I would just catch high-caliber rounds in my face immediately. And I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go out the door on the other side of the complex, because he won't be over there. But in the time I respawned, he moved to the other side. Yeah, that was disgusting. I was having a bad day. I'm better at Titanfall 2 than that, I swear to God, you guys. Alright, let's have a look at what else we got from Machine God. Sculpted and 3D printed myself some parts to convert the Strato Mini Studio Puncher into the pulverizer it's so inspired by. Alaric, you have a great night, man, and thank you for being here. And I helped, yeah. I did kill you a couple of times, Cybrin, but I think you were my only kills of the match. It was awful. Ugh. I heard catching high caliber rounds to the face isn't good for your health. I I don't think that it is, but I don't actually have enough information to dispute the notion that it might be good for your health, Walter's Workshop, so it's probably best if I don't comment too much on it. Use the Pro Acryl Fade Ultramarine as the base, and then did a quick spray with Sky Blue, and same for Turquoise. Oh, okay, so you veered into Turquoise like Blue-Green. That probably explains why it got that nice glow to it, and then very light with Titanium White, very sparingly. I think that was well done, Rodan. This was the test fit. The finished product is in my channel on your Discord. I will go check that out. Machine God, by the way, has a channel on the Thunderhead Studio Discord. Very worth checking into from time to time, particularly as the Patreon that he and Papa Bear have going gets off the ground. Yeah, it's really big. It's really big. I like these parts, though. It makes it, a little chunkier, too, which I appreciate. I need to take a look at the original. Strato does some pretty nice sculpts, all things considered. I think they strike a nice balance between the classic anime chunkiness and the new modern let's put panel lines on literally every surface aesthetic. Nicely done, Machine God. Good to see your 3D sculpting skills coming in handy, and they're so nice for doing simple conversions, aren't they? For the Hard War series. Okay, alright. Robosh76, how you doing, man? You and your magnets are both called out. Here from Chaotic Harmony, a rough, fast interior paint job of a tank that doesn't even have transport capabilities. Why are you... Chaotic Harmony. Stop it. Stop painting things that you're not gonna look... This isn't even, like you said, this is not a used interior on the Predator tank. This interior exists because the same standard template construct chassis is used to make the Rhino, and the Rhino has interior space. You don't... Come on, man. This is occupied with crew and munitions on the Predator, not cargo space, you absolute madman. But I'll tell you, it's good practice. I like the little bits of rust and weathering you've done in here. For quick and dirty, this is actually pretty effective. Give yourself some credit on this one. Good job getting in some practice on it one way or the other. Also, because I know it won't be painted, damn it, and if I know, it's a problem. Chaotic, it took me years to get over that myself. I know what you're talking about, and it took me years to get over it. I used to keep the bolters off my Marines and paint the chest eagle completely and then glue the bolter on in such a way that it totally covered it. It took me years to get to a point where I realized I never should have done that. That's a huge waste of time. And if I know, it's a problem. Hey man, you do you. With enough magnets and pins, you can take one of these STCs and make it so that you can reconfigure it from a Predator to a Rhino to a Whirlwind to any number of other things. So hey, that's something. Hope you're charging by the hour. Is that the tank from the Rampart Terrain Kickstarter, Soda Addict? Which are you talking about? A tank? This tank is Games Workshop Predator from the Space Marine line. At least he didn't add a Predator-accurate crew compartment and ammo storage. Don't give him ideas, Datron. Don't give him ideas. Chaotic, he's motivated by very strange things. Just look very similar inside. Okay, yeah. It's a fairly common design, and it's been kind of aped by a number of other sci-fi designers just because there are so many of them around. And so many people want tanks that can proxy as Predators and Rhinos believably. Shock 21, Stage 1 first base coat of my science experiment. Okay. Left model was primed white, and the right primed black. After a second coat, I'll move on to experimenting with washes and dry brushing different areas to see how it works out. This is a good idea for personal growth in painting, and I'm sure you can see the difference that it makes, particularly in the yellow and the green. It's much more muted on the one painted black, or primed in black, rather. I tend to prime in black and then zenithal white, so that I can get this sort of deep, dark shadows easily. And then on my lit and highlighted surfaces, I can have bright, more vibrant colors. Yeah, it is kind of the Voltron breakup, isn't it? And I'll form the head. The bitch, watch me. As long as you post it to the Storm Report, Chaotic, I don't give a shit, man. I love to see it. I love to see you putting paint on plastic, man. I do. This is the sort of experimentation and testing that I know that I should do more of, but I'm just far too lazy for. So in a way, it's kind of inspiring to see somebody doing it, Shock. One, I have a model that's part black and part white. How do I prime it? White. Honestly, white. This is the thing. It's much easier to do dark colors over light colors than it is to do light colors over dark colors. Now, my personal preference is prime it black and then zenithal it white, and then use built up pale blue grays for my whites for the most part. And yeah, dry brushing definitely helps too. Just in general, always remember, much easier to cover a light color with a dark color than to cover a dark color with a light color. Much easier. And lean into that zenithal highlight, man. I think you're gonna like it once you tried it a few times. Here we have Gun Mage with the follow. Gun Mage, thank you so much for that. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Storm Chasers, my friend. Did you get in something by the end of the Storm Report, or are we going to be looking at your stuff next time? Either way, I am fine with it. Coming down in the middle of playing The Witcher. Here we have from Sheza, and this asshole sat on my lap and streamed until I put birds on for him to watch. They are a demanding bunch, aren't they? I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only person who puts on television specifically for my cats. Something with, like, squirrels running back and forth across the yard. They're all into that. His name is Tribble. Oh, he's got a precious face on him, doesn't he? I like his he's got like a little gold snout, little beard, little fuzzy beard. He looks a lot. He's a different coloration than my Bengal, whose name was Mr. Cat, who we lost this last year. Mr. Cat has the same patterning, but he has much more of that deep gold color to his fur, you know? When the sun caught him, he really just lit up. Gorgeous kitty cat, and thank you so much for sharing with us, Sheza. Pick him up and he purrs. He's a good boy. See, you picked up Mr. Cat, and he'd, like, grab you by the throat, because he didn't like being picked up. He was a weirdo. Asri? I don't know. I assume I'm mispronouncing pretty much all of your names, but I'm going to go with Asri. Thank you so much for the follow. Hey, if it works, and I'm going to go with it. Here we have from Carbonic Acid, my attempt to paint with one brush, and base isn't done as I've been busy. Fantastic, another entry for the one brush to rule them all challenge. This actually came out pretty nice. Now, I know you were complaining when you did the scheme. You were like, it's too close to the Merrick Militia. Hang on. Am I going to sneeze? Now, the sneeze is going to wait until I'm not expecting it so I can do it right into my microphone. That'll be really, really attractive. Yeah, the burnt tree is a nice touch. I like how it's been charred down like it got hit with a laser or something. Ooh. This is just, it's a winning combo. And it's not exactly the Merrick Militia scheme. You went with a darker purple than they generally do, and then you've got the red and the blue, but they're not on opposite sides. I think it works out pretty well. It's a champion, right? Champion's such a weird mech. I never fully understood what these big pods were meant to do. They're just kind of there. Yeah, it's a nice shade of purple. It's kind of a red purple. You know, you can see a lot of red tone in here. And it balances out nicely next to the blue, and I think that the choice of the light blue for the cockpit was a great choice. Fantastic work for doing it all with one brush. Carbonic Acid, what brush did you use? Very, very curious. Ooh, looks like we got a little bit of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Glad to see I'm not the only one painting it right now. Of course, we got Wandering XP, but he does all his stuff on his own stream, you know? That was a abortion of a sentence. Iron Man, Salamanders, and Baby Velvet Rhino. Iron Man coming together. This is a tricky paint job, honestly. I struggled a fair amount with this Iron Man, and I'm going to struggle with the next one that I do. So I'm very, very curious to see where you wind up with this.
To 50 Shades of Cold Gray.
Fasal.
And as he pulled his stiff bristles out of my wet fluids, I yelled out, "No, Thunderhead! You need to thin that paint first!"
It's true. Always thin your paints. Except when you don't need to. In which case, don't. Yeah, whatever, that makes sense. Anyway. Next up, we have some salamanders coming together in the construction stage Looks like we got a combination. We have a combination, interestingly, here of Primaris Marines, and then some of the older 30k Heresy era Marines. Big brothers and little brothers, as it were, because yeah, we got like a Phobos in here. I just got distracted because my iPad lit up. It finally turned itself off from Sirenscape, and the classic Dreadnought in here. An interesting mix, man.
To 50 Shades of Cold Gray, Chapter 2. And as I lay on the cold, unforgiving table, my liquid spewing out from beneath me across the polished surface, I look up to see Thunderhead shaking his head, eyes alight with disappointment as he cleans his brush.
There is no disappointment in this moment anywhere in my body. This is such an adorable little shit. Just look at, oh my god. Oh my god. You can just see the mischief in her eyes. Ooh. Such a little fella. Oh my god. Oh, puppies. Puppies! Holy crap. My Gwynny still thinks she's a puppy. She's not. She's huge. But, you know, they say you're only as old as you feel. That is a damn cute pupper. Oh, bet she's soft, too. Kia. Oh. I need to do some work on my yard this year, and then we might see another puppy coming around. We might. Gwynny lost a couple friends this year, and that makes me sad. Hey, we have from Kursala, did some experimenting with modeling paste and crackle paint to make some fancy Thunder Hills. Also painted up a Hunchback, that new plumish paint that I made the other day, and purple, too. Oh, doing the basic Hex Hills with some texture on it. That's a good idea, actually, as far as just adding some simple textures to some Hex Hills. Also, a real fast way to cover up any print lines that you might have left over. I dig it. Nice use of the crackle paint on top, along with the like thicker spackle on the sides to mix it up. And here's a better view of the Hunchback. Please ignore the pig nose, dry brushed highlights of base color plus white, then washed with base color plus gunmetal glaze. Yeah, I'm gonna come up with an excuse to use these here in the near future. By the way, Kursala, I want to give you some notes on these. I will say that the paint so far actually seems to be just about the right consistency. We'll see how it goes down. And I'm glad that you're enjoying that color you mixed up the other day based on the Bloodfest Crimson. It is very pleasant, isn't it? It's almost red. It's almost purple. It's, It falls into that non-existent range where you go, it's magenta, but of course every time you say something's magenta, somebody has to pop out of a fucking closet and be like, magenta doesn't exist. I know. But, you know, it is at the same time. Oh, just modeling paste. Okay, not actually a spackle. It came out very nice, Kursala. This color combination is surprisingly effective because this is very red and this is very blue. And this is actually a good example of what I'm talking about when I try to utilize color temperature in my painting, even though I don't really pull it off as much as I'd like to. But you have two purples, effectively, one warm, one cool, and you can see how they contrast against one another despite being fairly close. It's a weird illusory thing because you can get colors that seem very different that don't contrast this well, and two colors that are very close that are like, oh yeah, I can totally see the difference. That's a nice mixture you got there, Kursala. Pictures washed out a bit. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. At this point, I probably have said it at least 100 times. Taking pictures of models is as hard as painting them in the first place, or harder. Here we have from Cyber Knight more Oryx, starting to really hone in for a log of these parts. In fact, I'm pretty much ready to call off a bunch of parts as locked and ready for production. Good to hear. Also started on working on some more of the variant parts as seen by the LB2Xs alongside the AC2s, so with a bit of luck, some production might be starting here pretty soon. Yeah, you've come a long way on this one, man. It is wonderful, wonderful to see some actual printed physical examples of them, because as I was gushing about before, it really sells how much over-exaggerating the details in the design phase comes out looking crisp and sharp in the final print phase. Adding that to the bingo card. People still doing that? God, I hope not. The Oryx is so damn cool. So cool. Cyber Knight, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. By the way, if anybody does not know, Cyber Knight is the proprietor of Metalcore Collectibles, which if you are into 6mm sci-fi vehicles, mechs, tanks, anything at all, go check out Metalcore Collectibles. Some of the best, both independent and potential Battletech proxy figures on the market. Great dude, produces all of his own stuff. Definitely check that out. Look at all them variants. The Oryx has, I really like the way the hips are capable of angling out like that too. This stance is so effective for the overall way that it's built, particularly with the angles that you have on the weapon pods. Not variants. No, these are all the same mech. I got that. I didn't say variants. I didn't say that these were variants, Metalcore Collectibles. I note that they all have the same weapon systems. They're all just posed very differently. Well, somewhat differently in some cases. But in enough of a variety to really show off how effective it is. I gotta read the tag. Never be said I don't put in the effort on iterating my design. Oh, God, I'm stupid. I wasn't looking at the specific details for the iterations. Alright, fair. Yeah, the Puck Duncher has not been around for a little while. She was working on painting some rat folk last time I talked to her. You know, life. Who's got time to sit around watching Twitch streams? God, what are we, a bunch of nerds? Come on. I'm gonna have to get my hands on some of the... Oh. Look what I got. Woohoo! It is pretty cool. Yeah? I've got a calendar full of Matt Plog Operation Lancaster art sent to me by Cyber Knight. And I'm pretty into it. It's pretty cool. Oh man. Tyrant Production. Yeah. I love how on his art you can see the Myomer bundles, like actual muscles back here before the plates go down. Yeah, this is going up on the wall. I'm terrible with digital calendars, so this actually works for me. There's certain parts of me that are trapped in the technology of a decade to 2 decades ago, and my ability to read calendars is one of them. So I'm going to make use of this. Cyber Knight, thank you so much for sending that my way. Oh, man. All right, let's come down and see what else we've got. Here we have from White Wolf, steadily chewing away at the last MDF building that needs to be built. Just one wall section remains. Warsenal Cosmic. I always struggle with that word. Warsenal? Ugh, bugs me. Cosmica Hab building. Front is the airlock. Left are the bunks with bathroom, lol, and right is the observation wall. They never put enough bathrooms in wargame terrain. Where do all the soldiers poop? Where do the Space Marines poop? Is it in their armor? I feel like it might be in their armor, and I don't like that at all. Manro Fasal, you have a fantastic night, my friend. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing with us. I hope to see you again Wednesday for our 1-year streamiversary. In their power armor, of course. They're like spacemen. That's no good. That doesn't seem comfortable at all. We're suggesting the Space Marines wear diapers, and somehow that detracts from their awesomeness. The bunks are actually pretty cool. And yeah, there's a little like refresher over here, a little pooper. Neat. That's remarkably detailed for being MDF terrain. I like the way this little sort of umbilical extending doorway. It gives this whole thing kind of this cool prefab vibe, doesn't it? No damn Space Marines in Infinity. Well, somebody in Infinity poops in their armor, I guarantee it. Supposed to be a research outpost kind of building that's a self-sustained, so of course they put a bathroom in Infinity. Yeah, Infinity has a way of overdoing almost everything, don't they? I think the Marines are fine with it. The Scouts, though, those poor Scouts. How about those poor techs that have to clean the armor out? Oh, God. Oh, and that just locks right onto the side. That is... The roof comes off, I hope. I have to assume that the roof comes off, because otherwise this is all just, you know, farting in the wind. So detailed. But of course, it is Infinity, and Infinity is nothing if not heavy on the detail. Yes, it comes off. It is modular. I am glad to hear that. I like the way this door is put together, too. You can almost hinge that with some pins and actually close it. It might actually close right now. I guess I don't know that it doesn't. And the sides are magnetic. Wowee. That's actually pretty cool, White Wolf. And the door is hinged. Somebody already thought of it. Nicely done. And then we have actually sort of semi-tidied up desk force setup. Sunday, haven't gotten much extra progress on the M1150 assault breacher vehicle. At least that's visible. At least that's visible to others. Oh, that's the whole sentence. And the Revell A10 goes slowly because I'm having to fill gaps with putty every step. Yeah, that seemed like a bit of a rough build. And yes, this is the desk. I'm seriously tempted to look into building a 1/16 scale T72B1 on here. 24 7/8 inches long, 8 7/8 inches wide. That's most of the damn desk. Or even a 1/32 scale SU27 flanker, 27.5 long, 18 1/8 wide. Oof, maybe one at a time. Both of which would probably overwhelm that. Yeah, it would pretty much fill this up, I would think. But boy, is it tempting, even if it wouldn't fit in my airbrush booth. You know, sometimes you gotta push the envelope and step outside the airbrush booth. It is lovely to see such an active workspace, though. How you doing, McDerpy Ninja? It's somewhat tidy. You know what? It's organized into assemblies and parts in a way where I can tell that there is, at a minimum, some organized chaos going on here, and that, I feel that represents me. Right side of that desk will eventually be tidied up. Don't lie to me, White Wolf. Don't lie to me, don't lie to yourself. Come on. Here we have from SP Firestarter, the next members of the heated, not heared, that doesn't make any sense, heated metal lance. Haven't had much time to work on them, but I've got ideas in my head. I have ideas in my head too, but getting them to come out of my head is challenging. Ooh, this is the Ion Raptor Mad Cat over here, one of my favorite damn sculpts. Really, really nice. I am loving this paint scheme. The more that it develops, please keep up the work on this, Firestarter. I want to see the rest of this lance going together. It's just such a cool idea, and it's so well realized across the entire body here. Looks like we've started mostly on the torso on the Mad Cat. Can't wait to see it coming all the way down to the bottoms of his little feet. Just got a Ninja 3 Pro like 2 days ago. Been printing during all my waking hours. Gonna be 24/7 once the silent board and Noctuas arrive. Yeah, the silent board is a big one. The silent board helps a lot with that high-pitched whine. Pretty much the only thing you're going to be able to hear are going to be the fans at that point. Here we have from Zargar. Is that's who is that in chat? Help me out. Gun Mage. Thank you. I'm painting a little bit of this is Corvus, isn't it? The Corvus 3D printable terrain. First of all, nice job. Man, that's a creepy looking eyeball. I've got some of their stuff. I have their core box terrain set that I've printed, I've assembled, I have primed. I have not painted yet. I need to get it done by mid-February so that I can take it with me to play some games with Hethrear, who is often lurking around in chat, generally trolling me. We're going to be playing some Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I'm going to be using some of this terrain myself. Nicely done. Now, that eye really is like, it's unsettling. It's upsetting me. A little bit. A teeny little bit. Hey, what's up, buddy? What's up, MCB? What is that voice? What am I doing? What is even going on in my head most of the time? Could we get a shout out? For my boy, for MCB, for Mick BTV, one of the most entertaining variety streamers here on the Twitch. If you like some late night gaming, a little Dead by Daylight, you were playing the other day, a little bit of that. What's the game where you're like, pew, 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 and the guy's like, bang, bang, and you're like, no, pew, and he's like, no, bang, and then one of you dies? You know the one. It's a good game. That was my real fun.
Welcome back to 50 Shades of Cold Grey, Chapter 2. And as I lay on the cold, unforgiving table, my liquid spewing out from beneath me across the polished surface, I look up to see Thunderhead shaking his head, eyes alight with disappointment as he cleans his brush.
My voice broke for a moment, and that was my real voice as opposed to this fake one that I'm putting on all the time. Walter's Workshop got me good. How you doing, MCB?
Welcome
Just
back
a normal
to
day
50
at the
Shades
grocery.
of Cold Grey, Chapter 4. Thunderhead slowly brushed up and down the leg of the miniature as I watched from the desk, my glistening paint waiting for his brush to get even more. The desire was there, he knew that, but he still kept painting that mech's crevices again and again, even after his paint ran thin. Oh, I suppose I need more paint, he said, smirking as he reached past me for another jar, dipping his brush deep inside of it while I watched in agony.
Why do I allow this to go on? I don't know. Yeah, you're never... Cosmic Disorder, you're never going to see Chapter 3. Chapter 3
here at
was
Thunderhead
locked
Studios.
in the fucking vaults.
It's okay to be sloppy. Bonus points if it's white paint.
Chapter 3 is, you know that warehouse where they took the Ark of the Covenant at the end of Indiana Jones? It's in one of those crates. It's never seeing the light of day again. Chaotic Harmony caught you off guard. Yeah, I think Chaotic Harmony's voice clips are the reason that I have a channel at this point. Really, though, Gunmage, thank you so much for sharing this with us today. I like the variation of the colors on the floors. I haven't looked enough at the Mystic House or whatever it is in the actual Doctor Strange movie to know if you're just emulating the colors. So I have to judge this entirely on its own. And I actually really like the sort of pale yellow up to rust red up to this really vibrant blue-green. It looks like there's like a summoning circle on the roof. If you felt like taking a picture of it from above and posting that maybe over in Showcase, I'd love to see that. Really nicely done, Gunmage. Yeah, I like Marvel Crisis Protocol. And feel free to post any other MCP stuff that you have. I've been doing a lot of... Oh, it's a strange color... Oh, God. I have been doing a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol lately. And I'm probably going to be doing it fairly solid for the next month or so as I finish my core box and get a few of my other figures ready to take up into the mountains and play with Hathrir. So I would love, love, love to see anything else that you might be working on, but that is going to bring us forward today. Eventually, White Wolf. God, I'm the worst. Why do you people even watch me? That is going to bring us to the end of the Storm Report, and thus... to the end of the stream. Did I update things? I did update things. I am so proud of myself. I changed some text today. I'm so competent it kind of hurts at times. Guys, we are going to be back Wednesday the 20th for our 1-year streamversary. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's see who is on right now. Who are we going to go ahead and toss a raid to? It looks like Steiner Miniatures is going. Zambies is going. Pyro Club is playing. Invader 1250, 46 and 2. Zombie Brush Studios doing Death Ray and Battletech. Hang on, 46 and 2 looks like he's doing some Star Wars. Is that what I'm seeing? Let's have a look. Working on some airbrushing. I can't tell what he's working on. Oh, he's doing some snow troopers. All right, you guys, you want Battletech or do you want Star Wars? We can do Battletech or Star Wars. You want to do Zambies? We haven't raided Zambies in fucking forever. You guys want to raid Zambies? We can do it. You know what? I'm gonna raid Zambies. I'm gonna do it one time. Yeah, that's a good idea, Riot Sister, because we never raid Zambies, and then I'm not gonna do it again for like a year. She's at 2 hours, 30 minutes. Hang on, let me see. I don't think she's about to end. I think she's still going for a little bit. Yeah, the damn ads. The godforsaken ads. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it just to say that I've done it and then I can never, ever do it again. How about that? Bing, bang, boom. Let's get that going, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Locus and Gentlemex, make some noise in Zambi's chat over there. Make a good impression. Represent the Storm Chasers well. Don't say anything I wouldn't say. I'm not really limiting you. Like at all, am I? None of that means anything. Oh God. We are gonna be back Wednesday the 20th. It will be our 1-year streamiversary. We've been streaming for 1 year. It will also be the 100th art stream that we've done. Very exciting. We will have a couple of giveaways. on Wednesday for both subscribers and non-subscribers, so make sure you are here if you want to get in on some of that action. We'll have some Thunderhead Studio merch going out. We will have a Borealis dropship for Battletech going out. We will have an Ender 3 basic model 3D printer going out to one of our subscribers. If you're curious about getting started in 3D printing, this is the place to be, let me tell you. And then we're going to be back for some painting on Thursday and Sunday in the coming week. It's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a busy week, folks. Holy moly, big thank you to all of our new followers today. We got so many new followers, I can't even tell you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for the subs. You are absolutely the best. Huge thank you to my mod team, the most amazing mod team on Twitch. I'm going to go get something to eat. Until next time, keep on painting.